as Flagler gets away. And it's been a long time coming. The Baylor Bears are back in the Final Four for the first time in 71 years.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Two to fire. Mitchell on the fly.
Boy, Mitchell's having himself a game.
Our coverage of the NCAA tourney in Indianapolis is brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Marco's Pizza, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Willis Law Firm, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, First National Bank of Central Texas, The Niche Group, and Pickup Outfitters.
The other way, can they beat it on the fly? Flagler caught!
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Here they go! It almost looked like Vital was in slow motion. He was in the air so long.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Up top here is Vital. Oh, the catch and the finish. Nice rim run on the baseline for big Mark Vital.
Now we go live to coverage of the NCAA men's tournament in Indianapolis. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Busy day on this Wednesday afternoon. Very beautiful day in Indianapolis. Very windy today. A lot of that central Texas type wind that comes flying up on I-35. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoak in studio in Waco. Craig had a busy morning with the Baylor Football Pro Day in front of NFL scouts. We'll have a summary of that and also kind of take that into consideration here a couple of different times, including hearing from William Bradley King today at 3:45. Paul Catalina, David Smoak. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership in our studio. Baylor will play Saturday officially 4:14 Central, the tip-off against Houston. Jim Nantz, Bill Raftery, Grant Hill, who hopefully will realize it's Baylor and not Oregon, and Tracy Wolfson will have the sideline or courtside work as well. Gonzaga smothered their opponent last night at USC, and then UCLA with the win against top seed Michigan. I believe there might have been a UCLA team with Larry Brown as an 11th seed or something like that, or it was not, I don't know, but they had a big run at one time when they were that deep of a seed. Okay, guys, we have the Final Four, Baylor Pro Day. News with Baylor women's basketball with Jordan Oliver transferring. I'll have a little bit of history or background on that, and much to get to. You will not see me on Twitter the rest of the day. You have not seen me on Twitter at all. I woke up to a note that I had my account suspended. Now, it's because I put in my tweet after we had Matt Driscoll on the show, stick your head in a tank of gasoline and light it with a match. How many times have you guys heard me say that when it comes to going full throttle with the show?
All the time.
Yeah, I've heard it quite a bit.
Yeah. So
I violated rules against promoting or encouraging suicide or self-harm.
Yes. So what you did, Smokey, was you ran afoul of the algorithm.
Twitter needs to stick its head in a tank of gasoline and literally light it on fire. And I don't think, there'd be some people who lean on it a little bit too much on the daily basis that would probably have withdrawals, but I think society would automatically become better if Twitter ceased to exist.
Yeah, I agree with you, Craig. Here's what I wonder, and I know, like, I'm telling you what happened. It's like it's not nobody reported you or anything. They have a computer, a robot that goes through and sees all these things and goes, oh man, that's a way that you would die if you actually did that. and it throws it into a thing. But there's also nuance and specifics to things, because it's not like you said, everyone go do it, like you're Jim Jones or something. It's also not like you said, hey, specifically you, Twitter user 1234, please stick your head in a tank and a gasoline. So it wasn't a threat either. So it's, I guess, I don't know. I mean, that's...
let me tell you something. This gets deep now. John Jacobs, Baylor assistant, will join us in a moment.
Well,
go ahead, Craig.
You should have gone with the little, cheat code for Twitter when you're going to say something like that. You should have just said, hey, all white people, stick your head in a tank of gasoline and light it on fire, and that would have been totally fine. And people think I'm joking, but that probably would have had your account still active because of things I've seen Twitter doing lately with their usage of who's saying something badly versus who's not. It's not down the middle. I'll put it that way. If you're leaning towards a certain political party, you seem to have a lot more freedom than other people, and the people in the middle, like myself, I don't know how they kind of view that. But, if you just added that part, it probably would have been good. Well,
and again, if I would have said all white people, stick your head in the tank of gasoline, light it with a match, I'd get a blue check.
Yeah, probably would. I mean, you think I'm kidding, and I'm really kind of half kidding because I know enough about it and have seen enough to know that's kind of how they operate.
All right. Paul, we have Coach Jacobs.
We do.
We are joined by what has almost become a weekly regular guest with us because of the great access of Baylor men's basketball. John Jacobs, Baylor assistant coach in Indianapolis, right down the street from where I'm staying, in fact, as well. Coach, the Final Four, do you feel, first of all, thanks for your time as always. Do you feel like there's a sense, is there any sense of relief, not a letdown, but a sense of the team even playing even better because they've accomplished, even though there are more goals, that they've accomplished this one with the Final Four?
Yeah, I don't know. Relief's the right word, just because these guys have been waiting for this for 2 years. I think there's a hunger, and I think we talked about this in the past weeks. We kind of break the season into 4 parts: the non-conference, winning conference, that conference tournament, and then now this 4th season is the NCAA tournament. So we definitely feel like this is a 6-game 4th season, and we got 2 more to go. So I would say our guys are probably more hungry than they are relieved. I do think as coaches, though, there's a moment where you sit back and you celebrate. And I think we did a good job of that first night. Anytime you can end up with a Final Four net, and after what Scott's done here the last 18 years, I think that not just cements him as a great coach, but I think it cements him as a Hall of Fame coach. And when you love Scott as much as our staff does and as much as our players do, you love that success, not just for the university, but for him. So maybe a little relief just in getting Coach Drew into that Hall of Fame and just having his career be honored, and all the players that built this program, I hope they enjoy the reward at the same time. But for the guys currently on the team, I think hunger is more the word rather than relief.
John, we had Jared Butler on yesterday, and I asked him this question. I was kind of curious from a coach's perspective. The team is so easy. Like, you got a bunch of guys who are cool, under pressure. They don't get too hyped up. They're very easygoing. They don't let anything rattle them. But Mark Vidal is kind of the wild card, is the one who kind of rattle cages. How is it that everyone can be so easygoing, and then you just need the one guy to occasionally, shake the room a little bit?
I think that's spot on. There's these points in our program where we can go from really aggressive defensively, real aggressive on the rebound part of the game, and then even there's this popping the ball in transition where we're flying around and running on the offensive end. But because we are relaxed and confident, and I think just in general, we do have some really mature guys who constantly have this high level of belief in themselves. That belief can be a double-edged sword. It'll get you. And Mark's the guy that's going to hit you in the face, hit you in the chest, push you in the back. He'll remind us all that if you're not the toughest team, you're just not going to win. And it's great to have Mark, because if you're yelling at your guys at this point in the season, they're tuning you out. I mean, we've been in a bubble together since about July 1st. And our guys have not been able to go home. And there's just only so much a coach can do before he becomes annoying. And when it comes from Mark or Maceo or our senior leadership, it's just much healthier. So having the villain, Mark Vidal, to push us along in the moments where we get soft is an absolute gift. I know that the world loves offense. They love points. They love shots. But it's invaluable to have somebody who doesn't care about that stuff and just cares about making sure we're the toughest team.
Coach, you had the pause there late in the season due to COVID, that lengthy pause, but you guys since then have played a lot of basketball. Does this kind of long break compared to, the Big 12 tournament or compared to the first and second rounds, how beneficial is this, or would you guys rather be kind of playing here, sooner rather than later?
I think we just take it as it comes. I know last week was odd because usually you fly home and then you come back for a Thursday, Saturday, and we didn't play till the weekend. And I think we viewed last week as if we're going to save all that flying time, we're going to get 2 hard practices. And our theme since we've gotten away from the Big 12 conference tournament is how many days a week can we practice as hard as possible? And if 2 is the max, if that's what Coach Charlie says, then we're doing 2. And the last 3 weeks, we've gotten 2 to 3 excellent hard practices. At this point, I think there's like an emotional and physical just accumulation of everything we've gone through. So I would say we're probably more at 1.5 hard ones this week. But, you know, if they're not dialed into the fact that we're in the Final Four and playing for a national championship, then they don't get what's going on. So it has been odd, the lack of back and forth and the staying still, but we're trying to view it as a positive and take advantage of practice time. And I think you can see in our defense and in our togetherness, our guys have responded to practice.
John, is Houston similar in any way? It appears as if that what you faced in Arkansas, a team that's very quick, athletic, get up and down the court. Houston seems to be some of that, but what are the similarities and perhaps some of the differences?
I think obviously they're both great programs. I mean, you don't get to Elite Eights and Final Fours if you're not a great program. I do think you can say just athletically there's some similarities. I think Houston maybe plays a little smaller at times, but the size doesn't matter when it comes to Houston. They're probably the toughest team that will play up to this point, just from the perspective that when the ball's in the air, they hit, and they hit like us. And they're one of, if not the best offensive rebounding team in the country. And you can see it in the last few games. They won a round against Rutgers on an offensive rebound. And then there was times in the Oregon State game in the first half where they were just playing volleyball, catching it off the glass and pitching it back out and getting extra threes. So they score about 35 to 37 points a game off turnovers and off offensive rebounds. So if you're just going to show up with 37 on the board just because you're tougher and you turn people over, then you can get to 60 with your offense pretty easily. So we're going to have to be really careful with how we take care of the ball and then managing how often they offensive rebound. And they'll send 3 to 4 to the glass. And like I said, certainly one of the tougher teams that we've played all year. They're built to win, and they're built to play through mistakes because they're going to get 2 or 3 chances on offense because of the way they rebound, and then they're going to take chances away from you because of the way they turn people over.
What's been the key to your guys breaking out of slumps so quickly? I mean, there can be, as you know, coaching as long as you have, guys can be in a slump for 10, 15 games where they can't hit shots, they can't do this, or something's wrong and they've got to change a whole lot. But you guys seem to, Adam Flagler had a slump that lasted for maybe 2 games. Jared Butler wasn't hitting threes for a little bit, but it always seems to be shaking quickly. What's been the key to that?
I think the key to that is what they do when no one else is looking. And I think our culture is built on having great kids that are coachable. And if you let Scott Drew coach you, then you're going to be okay. But generationally, kids don't always let themselves be coached. But after that coaching piece, it's what they do when we're not around. And if you're coming in to work on your jump shot 2 or 3 times a day, if you go through a little dry spell, it's not something that shakes you. It doesn't cause you an insecurity. You're just going back and doing the extra work and trusting that eventually it's going to come through. And we like to say that eventually the percentages work itself out. And we think we've got 6 guys who can shoot 40% from 3 on our team. And we're not going to overreact because somebody has an off day. And they don't overreact because they get back in the gym with our GAs when no one is looking and they get their shots up. So confidence comes from work. And this team is a generationally strong team when it comes to working with nobody watching. So they get all the credit for the mental toughness. We're just trying to stay out of the way and just breathe confidence into them. But these guys are the ones that allow themselves to have thick skin and work through those moments.
I realize, it just is what it is. Everybody's having to deal with it. But you guys have been in the bubble now for about 2 weeks, fully. Just what's that? I know you can kind of go outside. We've seen some of the clips of, the kickball game and all that. But just what's the experience of being kind of cooped up in the bubble been like?
Yeah, there's moments where it's hard. It's weird. I think just as coaches, you don't see your wife and kids for 3-4 weeks now. But the winning kind of pulls you along. I think the cool thing about our guys, maybe different even than the coaches, is that a lot of times the Final Four, getting to the Final Four, is based on the hoopla going back and forth. It's based on the media. It's based on the private flights and the police buzzing around and taking you on buses to special places and all the extra gifts that you get. But because of COVID, a lot of the extra stuff's been taken away. And so what this Final Four experience has become is you're spending the most time with the people you care about the most, that you love the most, playing board games, watching movies, going outside and playing kickball. So it's not the same kind of memories when you make it, and COVID isn't here, but it's a different kind of memory. And our team has embraced hanging out with their best friends this last month, way better than I think our staff could even have guessed. And they surprise us at every corner, but the way they've hung out and made this odd experience into a lifetime memory is something we're really thankful for. I don't think we could ask for more mature kids that get how to take something that's a little bit off and make it great. And they've done that for 6 months, and they're certainly doing that in the bubble.
Sounds like
to see.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead. It sounds like summer camp to me.
It is like summer camp, and they've put video games away, and they've chosen to play little yard games and Connect Four and Uno, and like literally sit at a table for 2 hours at a time and hang out and put their phones away. In some ways, it's like going back in time 20 years, and there's a certain healthiness, a relationship piece that I think the coaching staff's encouraged, but the guys have made it great. Our guys are great. And no one will ever see what happened in here, but the guys will never forget it because they've done such a great job of getting along with their friends.
John, I was walking back from having dinner one night, and I walked by what is part of where you are in the hotel. And, of course, there's the skywalk that has been closed because there's access to all the hotels along the way. But I saw, and I thought I shared this, but I'm not sure if I did, Charlie Melton was on the other side of the glass. His wife and his kids were on the outside. And it was very surreal. You were talking about that. It was very, very surreal because that's all they can do right now. And then you have your wife and 3 kids. And I wanted to share that story for those who don't know that. It's very difficult, I would think, if you see them or not, because if you see them, it might even make it worse.
Yeah, it's not a joke when they call it a bubble. And we're not allowed out. We're only allowed out when we get on the bus. And the families that come and watch the games can't even cross the street to be on the bus side of the street. They have to wave from the other side. And then when the kids first get here, we want to see our kids. And so the fastest, easiest way for you to see your kids is to have them come to the window and wave. And Coach AD's kids came to the window and they saw him after 2 weeks away, and they thought this was the greatest thing ever. And then they're both younger, and then they had to leave, and they finally figured it out. Dad's not coming with me. And then it's just crying on crying because it's like a bait and switch. It's a trick. And the bubble thing is 100% real. These guys can't go up and hug their parents after we win. You're at the Final Four cutting down the net. You can't have your mom come on the floor when normally they allow families on the floor. So it is odd, but it's worth it. And I think that we're still dialed into wanting to make this memory and make this run to a national championship. We look past all that stuff. But what you said about Coach Melton is a really pure, true capture of what our life has been like and the situation we're currently in.
What's it like to see Alvin Brooks get ready to face his father in a Final Four? I saw the cool clip of them being able to see each other in the bubble and give each other a hug, and then they had the press conference, I think, but how cool is that?
I don't know that there's anything better in the basketball world right now than the story of those two. I mean, 100%. We almost played Paul Mills, and he's a Baylor assistant, a former Baylor guy, and our friends. There's a real chance we play Gonzaga if both of us can somehow win these mixed games. And obviously I worked with them, and they're my friends. But love for your friends is not the same thing as experiencing something with your father. And, the coolest thing for me is my dad has been at every tournament game so far. I love my dad, but it's not the same as being on the floor. And I can't imagine how Alvin feels because of the ups and downs and roller coaster of the emotions around that. But I promise you this, the main feeling is positivity. And it's really hard to get to a Final Four. Coaches will coach 50 years and never even sniff it. And Alvin's here with his dad at the same time. I think it's one of the coolest stories in college basketball this year. And I'll let him tell you the length of that story sometime on your show, because that's his story to tell. But I can't imagine anything cooler than being at the Final Four with my dad.
John, can you get a sense that even though there's work to be done and where you are as a Final Four team, there was celebration on Monday night, but it didn't seem like it was just completely like nuts. It was exciting, and you guys enjoyed it. But do you get a sense now, because it's a senior-laden team, but also the fact that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel in so many ways?
Yeah, we've celebrated. I think it didn't extend too much, and our guys have a certain maturity about it. I mean, I think one of the games we kind of had the whole water thing in the locker room, and then we won the Sweet 16 game, and the guys didn't even get off their chairs. And so earlier on, I think we were having more fun with it. And then every extra round, I think the guys are getting more dialed in. And, just like it's a lifetime dream for a coach to coach in the Final Four or to be in the situation that AB is with his dad, these guys have been doing this for a lot of them since they're 4 years old. And so the intensity as you get closer to it, I think is really healthy. And hopefully that intensity comes out. And we're just trying to manage their legs and their expectations and the way the team takes care of each other and puts the other person first. But we trust that they're moving towards intensity in the right moments, and we hope that they peak at the right time. And so much of this is about who plays well. People make it about a lot of different things, but in a one-and-done tournament, this is not the best of seven. This is one day. And so who can play best on that day? So we're just praying our guys peak at the right time and we can serve them in a way where we're giving them the best advice possible to be successful.
John, thank you. I was at a place today having lunch with Ashley Hodge and Jason King, and there was a couple of guys, one of the guys who owned the restaurant, and he said, man, I love watching how Baylor plays and how unselfish they seem to be, which is a phenomenal compliment, but something that makes a lot of sense. And I know we appreciate your time today and all the times you've been with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for all you guys are doing. We appreciate you, and hopefully we'll make this a great weekend. And we're glad you're here in person with us. That's one of the coolest things, is at least some people can come, and I hope you enjoy every second of it.
I have, and hopefully we'll all the way into Tuesday or so when I fly back into the state of Texas. Thank you, John.
Let's make it Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's John Jacobs, assistant coach, men's basketball. There's a couple of other notes. I know we have a loaded-up schedule today on the show. Evan Miyakawa will join us 3:30 to give us the graphics, analytics, stats of the Final Four teams. Craig was at Pro Day this morning at Baylor. We'll summarize that and hear from William Bradley King. Freddie Gillespie and Devontae Bandu at 4 and 445 and what they see with the team as those who had to leave as they were graduating last year on the cusp of maybe the same thing. Mac Rhodes at 4:20, John Machota on the Cowboys at 5, and Dick Vitale joins us today at 5:15, and then Joey McGuire from Football Practice from their show or their media session on Tuesday. All right, so a couple of notes. Jordan Oliver has announced that she's going to transfer. Here's the story, kind of in a way, and she may not be the only one. There's probably one or two other players. I think Trinity Oliver wants more playing time because she has started the game against UConn. Jordan Oliver, you look around and you see, Paul, let's not forget, we still don't know, or Craig, DeDe Richards or what Dejanay might do. We think, and both would be drafted. But who knows what they decide to do because, DeDe had to play point this year. That's not her true position. And it probably affected some other things that she did. We know that when she went out, the game changed dramatically. Dejanay looks like she's ready to play in the WNBA right now. She's got the body, the skills, but who knows? Because the WNBA's, look where, the players who have been, Nina, just went. Yeah, she's where she's in Italy or Europe or Israel.
She never even was really with the WNBA. She never even was really part of it.
Yeah.
Juicy Landrum is wishes she had a year back. And there's a lot of them. And some of them who even make the WNBA, as we've talked about, they still go play pro ball because they don't make much money. So those are some decisions. Moon Urson wants to get into nursing school. Not sure what she'll do. She'll go home, spend some time with her family. That decision coming up. But then let's not forget the Carr kid from Tech is sitting in the wings. The young lady McDaniel from Penn State who tore her ACL. waiting in the wings.
Well,
and then on top of that, I forgot I'm sorry. I went Owens from UCLA played a little bit this year, not a lot. So it's not like they're dry. The cupboard is not dry.
Well, no, and the part of that, the transfer portal changes all that. Used to, if you had somebody that left, that transferred, to replace them was harder because, they're going to transfer and sit a year, and then whoever you replace them with is going to sit a year. Well, now because of the transfer portal, I mean, it's just kind of evergreen, which is the one thing I do like about the transfer portal is that you don't have to, fret about your roster as much across things. It's too full and it's too crazy. But again, because of that, they don't have to worry about it. I mean, they can lose people and they can replace them, and it's not, oh man, all of a sudden the three people we had that could play point guard all want to leave because they're either not good enough or not play, all that, and then you've got to replace. Well, you can't just it wasn't just like that. Now it pretty much is.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably a good thing because of what you said about the fact that Moon Urson or Dejanay Carrington or D.D. Richards or whoever else may be eligible can all come back next year. So if that's the case, then I don't really know what their numbers were like prior to those decisions, and those decisions have not been made. But I would think that something was going to have to give as far as the scholarship numbers. And the fact that they usually add a transfer during the offseason. I'm sure they'll probably add in a transfer during this offseason. Wouldn't be surprised to see them add a point guard transfer, something like that. So, you got to have a little bit of wiggle room. And I think, if anything, if you feel like, or if Jordan Oliver feels like she wasn't going to really be contributing a whole lot here in the near future and would be better contributing elsewhere, then, hey, that spot's free. That allows you to maybe bring back D.D. So that turns out for Baylor better in the long. And I know they would find any way to bring back D.D. or whoever. But, I mean, it gives you some flexibility, and I think that's a good thing to have going into the offseason.
One other note about women's basketball, too. Paige Beckers of UConn, the freshman player of the year.
Boo!
Others who got votes. I don't understand the hype. UT was destroyed by South Carolina last night. Charlie Collier did it again, no-showed. She was good in the game that they upset Maryland. Well, she got a vote for the AP Women's Player of the Year. There was Beckers with 21 votes. Evans from Louisville had 4. Howard from Kentucky had 2. And then Collier, the freshman from Iowa, Clark, and Hillman from Michigan.
I mean, they did have a lot of talent back. He didn't walk into an empty cupboard like most new coaches do. He walked into a team that had been knocking on the door of the Elite Eight and the Final Four. And so I saw all these UT reporters after that absolute tail kicking that got put on the Longhorns last night. What a magical season. I saw the word magical. They lost 10 games. There's nothing magic about losing 10 games. But every reporter I saw from Austin was like, what a great season. Magic, all this. And so, I mean, I don't know if they're sniffing pixie dust down there or what, but whoever's thinking that 10 wins is a magical season also thinks that Charlie Collier, showing the biggest games of the year, is also deserving of All-American honors, I guess. That's all I can figure, at least.
Yeah,
all right. You want to hear?
I don't get it.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Bob Ballou, pretty good reporter, right?
Yep.
Here's what he tweeted last night. The Texas women's basketball season lasted longer than Baylor's. That's something not many would have thought possible even 2 weeks ago.
No, it didn't.
What a garbage
only a day, only chronologically because they played on Tuesday.
I know,
and he's my friend. Oh my God, I'm calling Bob. Bob.
Hey, I responded to him, and then of course 99% of everyone else was like, "You really can still delete this tweet." He said, "No, I'm fine." And then of course a couple of UT fans, "Man, you're in the Baylor Lady Bears hats." No, but the fact he's too good for that.
Yeah, that
was silly.
That's
longer for him.
No,
because of the way the schedule and the calendar fell.
Yeah.
All right, Kansas got Cam Martin, a 6'9", 240-pound Division II star from Missouri Southern, 25 points a game. Pretty good player, turns it over a little bit too much, but that's how Bill Self will try to help maybe boost his depth chart, okay?
Yeah.
Are you guys still there? Because I saw the screen just froze.
No, we're fine.
Okay, good.
No.
All right, yeah. Okay. Chad Morris is the new football coach at Allen High School, the former college coach. He's been at Arkansas, SMU, Clemson, and a few other places. Of course, he made a name for himself in high school football on his start of his career. All right, we have Evan Miyakawa coming up. He's going to join us and talk about the 4 teams left, how the analytics talk about Gonzaga, Houston, UCLA, and Baylor, and then Craig's summary pro day today at Baylor. A lot of scouts were actually pretty much there, considering there wasn't much there. This is SicEm365 Radio.
March means it's time to celebrate 22 years of serving Waco and Central Texas with big savings on all cars and trucks on the lot at Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. That includes all 2021 Buicks with deep discounts. You can save $4,500 on a 2021 Buick Encore. You can save $3,500 on a 2021 Buick Encore GX. You can save $3,500 on a 2021 Buick Envision. You can save $6,000 off a 2021 Buick Enclave, or qualified buyers can get 0% financing for 72 months. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. You can find savings like $8,000 off a 2021 GMC Sierra, or save $6,500 on 2021 GMC Acadias or GMC Terrains. And Richard Carr Motors is your local family dealer that wants to earn your business with great prices, plus with free oil changes with the new purchase and priority warranty service on all vehicles purchased when you buy a car from Richard Carr. So come by their clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or let them bring a test drive to you. And right now, during the big basketball tournament, which as we know is only lasting about another week or so, come on by the dealership and take a shot to win additional prizes. It's the big 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville, but we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, "Your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy," that's a bit harsh. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, "Well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state." Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house-cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Just got confirmation that Clark Kellogg, a part of that CBS studio crew, will join us. He'll be a part of the show Friday at 3:30. We're now joined by Evan Miyakawa, who has become a go-to for us on his analytics, stats, and more throughout the tournament, throughout the season. And now, Evan, we're down to Gonzaga, UCLA, Houston, and Baylor. Based on what you see, and I saw what you put up earlier today, the graphics, the numbers, the stats, the data, is it Gonzaga, Baylor, Houston, and then UCLA in that order?
Yeah, it's in that order, and I think it's important to note that it really is Gonzaga first, and then there's a large gap, and then the winner of this Baylor-Houston game is next, and then UCLA with a small percentage. I just ran the simulation odds a little bit ago, and according to my model, Gonzaga has a 71% chance to win the whole thing, and then Baylor's at 19%. So Gonzaga looked so good in that USC game. I think everyone's starting to realize that it's been Baylor and Gonzaga at the top all year, but we're starting to wonder, is Gonzaga another tier ahead of Baylor? That's certainly a question of mine going forward.
So where does Baylor have the best chance to mine that gap statistically?
Well, I think it comes back to their guard play. I think that's the difference. And obviously they're one of the best, if not the best, three-point shooting team in the country. And so that's not something that's Gonzaga's strength. And so if Baylor can hit the three ball the way they have in a lot of games this season, I certainly think it's going to be difficult to guard. Now, you looked at Drew Timme's performance in Gonzaga's win over USC and through this tournament, and to me, that's the big difference maker. Corey Kispert is the first-team All-American, but to me, Drew Timme has been the linchpin to this team in terms of just taking the top off of teams. So I think that's my biggest worry, but I really hope we get this Baylor-Gonzaga matchup. It's certainly the matchup we've been waiting for all season long, and I think it would be some of the highest caliber basketball we've seen in a long time.
Tell us about this first time ever and maybe last time ever rankings that were spit out for you, the Bayesian performance rating and Gonzaga's dominance in that top 10, I suppose.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't like looking at a list and seeing, 5 guys from the same team in the top 10. So, it's not my favorite thing to see, but when you look into the numbers, Gonzaga has the top 4 best players in my metric called Bayesian performance rating, which is essentially trying to quantify how impactful each player is when they're on the court. And then Andrew Nembhard comes in at 7 as well. And I think it's very possible that in a week we're going to look back and say, maybe this was pretty close to the truth, just given how good their whole team is. There's not any holes in those 5 guys. And even their bench guys are really solid too. The way that they run their offense, the skill and the intelligence of every player and how they click. I've never seen this kind of performance. And certainly in terms of my metric, this is the first time ever since I've been collecting data that I've seen a team have 5 in the top 10. And honestly, I don't know if that will ever happen again.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Oh, there's absolutely a chance. I have Baylor as a 28% chance to beat Gonzaga right now. So that's very doable. And Baylor's been in harder situations before and they've won. So, that's certainly not out of the question by any means. But I think the main talking point is that Gonzaga is just Does not mean that they are infallible, doesn't mean that they can't be challenged, but they're just really impressive.
Evan, what kind of mountain does UCLA have to climb here on Saturday night?
Let's put it this way. They have a 90 or a 6% chance of beating Gonzaga, so that's a pretty big mountain to climb there. This was my argument going into the USC game. A lot of people talked about how USC was a team that Gonzaga hadn't faced anyone of their quality and of their length. And on the flip side, of course, you could argue that USC hadn't seen anyone like Gonzaga. For me, I think it came down to the fact that regardless of how good a 6 seed is, Gonzaga is not going to be challenged by anyone other than maybe a 1 or a 2 seed in this tournament. So in that same logic, I just don't see UCLA really being able to challenge them there. Obviously, there's always a chance if Gonzaga has one of their worst performances of the season, but I have them predicted to win this game by 21 points, if that gives you a feeling.
Yeah. And they haven't had to play. They won't have to play a 1 or a 2 seed until Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, like the whole time.
Maybe that could play into either Baylor or Houston's hands, just given that Gonzaga wouldn't have had to have a really difficult game first. And so who knows, maybe they could catch them off guard a little bit. Could be something interesting to watch there.
Well, we all want the Baylor-Gonzaga matchup. The players, coaches want it. The media wants it. The fans want it. But for that to happen, Evan, obviously Baylor's got to beat U of H, and they're a very well-coached team, very athletic team. Tell us what you think of the Cougars and what kind of matchup we're in store for this weekend.
I think this is going to be a huge test, and the first game that it's closer to a toss-up than anything Baylor's faced in the tournament up to this point. In terms of their efficiency metrics, they're very similar. Houston is 4th in offensive efficiency at my website and 12th in defense. And for perspective, Baylor's 2nd and 15 in those categories. So very similar. I think the big difference is Houston loves to slow the pace down to a grind. And I think we've seen this some. Last year Baylor resembled a team more like that really was solid defensively and just slowed the game down. But Houston is playing really well. It's difficult to say, what kind of a challenge this is going to be for them facing the toughest team by far that they've faced in this tournament, but they've won 11 in a row. And their defense didn't even particularly play well against Oregon State. It was just a slow game. But here's the thing that's really interesting to me. Houston's defense has allowed under 1 point per possession in all but 5 games this year, which is the mark of a really good defense. By contrast, Baylor's offense has been over that mark of 1 point per possession in all but 3 games. So one of those two things has to fall on Saturday. So I'm really excited to see that matchup.
Evan, now that we've made you a mega superstar and what coming on this show has meant to you, when you start to get royalties, how much do Paul, Craig, Armstrong, of course, and how much of a percentage do we get?
I think we're looking at 278%. That's kind of roughly where I've put it at.
Okay,
so
good deal.
I like that number.
I like that. That's great.
Best
That's great.
number I've heard so far.
What have the chicks been like? I mean, do you have walk out of your house?
Paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
Paul.
I'm happily married. So
No, Evan, I remember when I first saw some of what you were doing with your stats and analytics, and I was like, man, and it took me a while to kind of gain understanding of it. You make it look and sound so easy. Thanks for your time, and hopefully maybe we can slide you on Monday if there's a game against somebody else on Monday night.
That would be incredible, and I just really appreciate the opportunities that you all have given me to talk about the Baylor Bears and talk about college basketball analytics in general. So it's been super fun to chat with you all about this, and hopefully we can have another conversation on Monday about the Baylor Bears in the national championship game.
Mm-hmm. Evan M-I-Y-A, Evan Miyakawa, Evan MIYA.com on his site. Thanks for your time, young man. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Armstrong even got him on the Zoom today. The awesome stuff. When we come back, this was a busy day at Baylor with the football pro day, which initially you were like, okay, who's all going to be there? Then Spencer Drango and Chris Platt, and then, of course, some other former players, William Bradley King and others. What was it like? Craig Smoak will give us his side. He was there. And also hear a little bit from William Bradley King, SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street. They're turning over the beers right now for spring when it comes to their great craft beer selection. So if you're a craft beer fan and you want some of those different spring flavors and tastes, believe me, Steve Chapman sent me just a partial list, whatever would fit in one picture on his phone, and it was like 60 different beers that they're going to rotate in and out, and that's going to happen again. It's going to spring to summer to the fall to the winter. They're just constantly churning the roster of beers that they have there at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. Also, really just an unbelievable selection of wine. If you're going in, say you're going to you're having a dinner, you're making something, you want to pair something with it, they're going to know what to pair it with. Also, they pretty much know what everything tastes like. It's unbelievable. Their staff is very knowledgeable. Great selection of spirits, and the drive-through window is so fast you can't even believe it. They've got speedsters working in there, efficient, fast. They're knowledgeable. They're a great staff. It's a great place to go for all your beverage needs. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Dodge Journey is the best value available in third-row seating vehicles on the market. Allen Samuels President's Day event is going on now with deals on the 2020 Dodge Journey. Values up to $6,500 or 0% for 72 months, plus $2,000 in combo cash. Or check out the 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude with total values of $6,750 or 0% for 72 months, plus $2,500 in combo cash. Located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
Well, I'm all in it together with Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak. Armstrong Sims back in the studio. One quick note before Paul and Craig and Pro Day, and we'll hear from William Bradley King. Remember when Kim started getting, the typical talking about COVID in the Final Four? Mm-hmm. You want to know the story behind that, guys?
Well, I think...
Go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Gino and Kim had a conversation. Apparently, they both are on the same page with this. And today, Gino was asked about Kim's comments, and he said, yes, he knew where she was coming from, and that they both had talked about it and knew where and why she said it. The reason she said it was back in March, sometime in mid-March, there were like 25 doctors with some sort of a long conference call that brought up that if you're in a bubble for 2 weeks and you test every single day and you're negative, then there's no need after that. You're not going to have anything to worry about the following week. So there's a little history there. Gino kind of came out and brought that up today, but you won't see anyone grab those headlines that he agrees with her. All right.
Well, I just retweeted one of those because, there's not a single peep from anybody in the media. And that just, our media is disgusting. It really is atrocious. It's disgusting how one-sided, one way or the other, people in the media have become, and the way they report the exact same things differently to fit their agenda. It's just all agenda-driven. I don't want to go off on a rant here, but the fact that that's gotten no play whatsoever after hundreds of people with blue check marks wanted to go, fire Kim, throw her in a pill lava, whatever. Gino says it and just not a peep. Like, what? I mean, if that's not like talking out of both sides of your mouth or just showing your true colors, then I don't know what is. But whatever. I'm never going to see eye to eye with most of those people anyways.
I want to get that bite. I know we're packed, in fact, right now, but I want to use it as about a 2-minute comment from Gino on exactly what I just said, and he admits it. So hopefully somebody will run with it, maybe Michelle Vopel on ESPN. All right, Pro Day, Craig, you were there. Your overall thoughts, you've been to a handful of them.
Yeah, I didn't go right at the very beginning. I just, I didn't think it was going to be as bustling of a pro day as it typically is, just with, the limited amount of NFL prospects. So I got there, a little bit towards the end and got to watch a little bit of drills. I don't really know what is what as far as, what the NFL scouts are looking for and, what's impressive and what's not, other than like 40 times and whatnot. So I couldn't really tell you like who stood out because they were doing a lot of position drills and things like that. Chris Platt was running routes and catching passes, and it's like I've seen him do that a million times. I don't know if that's impressive to anybody. So, I'm not sure what the scouts thought walking away, but it was a good turnout. There was a lot of current players there. Terrell Bernard and a bunch of other guys. A bunch of the coaches were out there, as you can imagine, Dave Aranda and company. A nice little crowd. 18 NFL scouts. And when I think it was Darby Brown told me that, I was like, really? There's 18 NFL scouts here? Like, I thought there would be single digits. Well, I honestly did.
Well, part of that is no combine.
Yes.
So they're just kind of on the road going to everything that they can see in person because they didn't get to do any of these measurables in person. So, and especially it's weird, give 18 is a weird number, guys, given the fact that, and no offense to Chris Platt and Jake Burton and Drew Galitz and all those other guys, William Bradley King's going to be the only guy that's for sure going to get drafted.
Yes.
And
then, I don't even know if it's for sure, Paul.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, but like he's the best chance to get drafted. I think he'll probably get drafted. I mean, like because of what he does and his build and his metrics, I think that he'll probably,
I would say it's like 60-40 that he does. I don't think it's a sure thing.
Yeah, but the rest of the guys. So there's not a surefire anything draft wise, but 18 scouts still. I mean. Shows you, the way they have to gather info.
Yeah, so it was, mainly the two main guys were Jake Burton, who was back, and William Bradley King. And I guess my impressions of them were not, what they did in workouts or anything like that. It was just how much both of those guys seem to love Baylor, even though they only spent a year and not even a year, really, on campus and as a part of the team, just a season. They both are guys that, are going to probably be coming back and visiting just like the other alums do. And I think that's really cool because they don't have, the 3-4 years they played in Waco, but clearly the time that they did spend, it had an impact, and the coaches had an impact, and they made good relationships. So that was a definite positive coming out, was just to know that, those guys had enough fun that they were going to be hanging around. It's just interesting to see Spencer Drango for the first time in a really, really long time. He was just talking about how, he just wants to give, football another run, and he's just hoping for a chance. And I guess really the main theme of things, guys, was the lack of workouts for, somebody like a Drango who's just a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really being looked at now at this point. The talent is getting younger and younger and younger.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting older and older and older. So, he's trying to get a shot, and Drew Galit's trying to get a shot. He was in the XFL, and that fell apart, and he's dealt with injuries and things like that. So there's just a lot of guys, and I can imagine, like, if you were to go to Ohio State's pro day is probably a bad example because they've got so many current players that need time to work out. But I'm sure if you opened the doors to older players, there would be dozens and dozens trying to work out at these pro days, because where they would normally be working out, they're not doing that. They're not having those opportunities anymore. So that was kind of interesting to hear, just sort of the difficulty that some former guys are having in trying to find those opportunities. So today they viewed as an opportunity with 18 NFL scouts there, and hopefully it works out for as many guys as possible. I do think William Bradley King will be on an NFL team. I think Jake Burton could very well end up on an NFL team, undrafted free agent type of thing. I don't know with Drango at this point if somebody's going to give him a shot. I hope they do. But I mean, that was kind of the gist of it. There wasn't a Corey Coleman, there wasn't a RG3. I mean, there wasn't those types of guys that were performing today. So it was a little bit just laid back from the time that I took in, and just kind of business as usual.
All right, so William Bradley King has something that every team wants, whether he can do it at a level in the NFL or not, or eventually become that player, be a practice squad guy, or be drafted in the mid-rounds or late rounds or signed afterwards. We don't know. We didn't get to see a lot of that this year, but on occasion we saw him flash the ability to put pressure on the quarterback, and he spoke with the media. This is some of it. Craig was there for us with Baylor's Pro Day.
You kind of helped yourself today, or?
Yes, sir. I feel like, the season was where I helped myself the most, and the Senior Bowl, and today I felt like I stamped it.
What are your kind of expectations going into the draft? Are you getting some feedback from NFL teams at all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm talking to teams. Right now, I'm on to my next phase. I'm going to go home, start training, just stay focused, stay in shape, and just wait on that call.
What was your overall experience? I mean, from when you transferred here till now, what was just the experience like for you here at Baylor?
Yeah, I loved every moment of it. It was just an honor to get to play with these guys. For me to be the chess piece, to come help the defense out. It was fun. They welcomed me with open arms, and I love it. I'm a Baylor Bear the rest of my life.
What do you think the future holds for this defense? I mean, you saw them last year with Ron Roberts, knowing that pretty much everybody's back. Terrell's back. I mean, what do you think the future holds?
Yeah, I just know they're not done yet. So it's going to be real scary for offenses in the Big 12.
You mentioned that you stamped it today, with kind of, what you did at the Senior Bowl too. What was the thing that was there like a particular drill or particular thing that you were kind of focused on today?
Really just everything. I wanted to show that I was an athlete. I could move. I could play edge of the defense. I could drop back in coverage, and that I could rush out of a 3 technique. And I showed some of those attributes today, and I put my best foot forward.
Do you see yourself in the future coming back around, staying in touch, and kind of being around some of the younger guys as well?
Yeah, most definitely. One of the main reasons, I came here was to, leave something for the younger guys. I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to show them, what type of work ethic you had to do to, had to have to get it done. I showed them I was on a mission, and, we're not done yet, but, I'm going to show them how to finish it.
All right, that's William Bradley King. Did we ever see him in person until today, Craig?
I mean, if you went to the games, you did, but outside of that, no, because I don't remember when he got on campus, but it would have been later in the spring, right, as a transfer. Yeah. So they didn't have spring ball, so didn't see him then. I mean, maybe I saw him randomly around Waco and just never knew it, but outside of that, no, we haven't seen him until today. I will say, I mean, you could probably tell watching on TV or in the stands or whatever, he's got great size, and obviously a good rushing ability. So. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. I mean, I think he definitely has a chance to get drafted. I haven't checked in and looked at all the analysts, and I mean, he's not a guy that's being widely talked about anyways. Like most guys who aren't in those first couple of rounds aren't really being talked up at this point. I haven't really seen him labeled as a sleeper type or anything like that. So I'm intrigued. I'll look around tonight and see if anybody's got any comments on him or if he's any mocks or things like that, 7-round mock types. But I do think we're looking at a day 3 choice, if that. But most definitely, I mean, no question, he will be on a team after the draft is over with as an undrafted free agent or as a late round pick. That's what I expect at this point.
All right. When we come back, guess who's watching Baylor? All the players from back even who are still around from the 40s, 50s, whatever, but also a couple of seniors in the 4 o'clock hour, Freddie Gillespie and Devontae Bandu. Devontae was just signed by a Canadian elite team. That's at 4:45. But Freddie Gillespie of the Memphis, I think it's the Hustle of the G League, having a pretty good year. His thoughts about Baylor. 254-339-1122 is the Twitter number, or the text. I can't say Twitter. The text line as well. Any comments you have, and a lot of you have sent comments to us. We'll get to those as well. 254-339-1122. SicEm365 Radio. All right, so here's the deal. Waco Custom Marketplace, you have 2 hours to call them, contact them at 425 Lake Air Drive. Call them or go by and order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish. I mean, these are some dudes, some live crawfish. You have until Wednesdays at 6 every week. Order your 30-pound sacks of live crawfish for $4.25 a pound, and then anytime after 2 o'clock on Friday or anytime they're open on Saturday, you go by and pick up, whether it's 1 pound, 1 sack or 4 sacks, whatever the amount of crawfish you order. But you have to do it by the end of, business today at 6 o'clock. So go by Waco Custom Marketplace and do that. And if you also want to order whatever you have, when you want this weekend to grill a big steak and you want a steak that's a bone-in ribeye, a regular ribeye, possibly you want to have a prime rib for a lot of people, or a bacon-wrapped filet, chicken or pork, and or seafood. They will custom have all your order ready when you go by as well. So Waco Custom Marketplace, WacoCustomMarketplace.com. Order by 6 tonight, the live crawfish. Pick up after Friday at 2 or Saturday at WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors that Baylor trusts, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Payments for qualified buyer with $4,000 down, 3.9% DTL, extra CD for details. The 22-year anniversary sales event is going on now at Richard Carr. Make your refund or stimulus even bigger when you add savings like a 2019 Buick Encore for only $169 a month, a 2018 GMC Train for only $208 a month, a 2018 GMC Sierra for only $374 a month. 100% credit approval is always our goal. Get here now and save during the anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
The Baylor Bears are back in the Final Four for the first time in 71 years.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
A little nickel dimer in the lane, and it goes. Yes, the basket counts.
Our coverage of the NCAA Tourney in Indianapolis is brought to you by IdealMRI.com. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Marco's Pizza. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company. Willis Law Firm. Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. First National Bank of Central Texas. The Niche Group. And Pickup Outfitters.
Samuels put the chair on the tee. Another turnover. Here come the Bears in transition. Mitchell. And he scores.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Meyer, he averages 8. He has a nice spinning move right there. Meyer has been terrific with 15 points, 5 of 10.
Now we go live to coverage of the NCAA men's tournament in Indianapolis. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Armstrong Sims runs the mothership. Two players who are a major part of last year's team, Freddie Gillespie and Devontae Bandu, will join us on the show in this hour. And in fact, we're now joined by Freddie Gillespie of the Memphis Hustle on SicEm365 Radio. Freddie, as always, man, we appreciate you whenever you're on the show. What is it like as you're trying to do what you're doing, but watching your team, because this is part of your team, in what Baylor's doing right now in Indianapolis?
It's like, I look at it, it's just like, I don't know, it's almost like seeing like your little brothers do well, just like in that kind of sense. It's just fun. You love watching people close to you be successful and succeed, and for me, I still feel a part of that. So it's just been a joy.
When you watch games as a former player, what are your emotions like? I mean, I know what you were like on the bench when you weren't in the game. I know what kind of player you're intense in the game. Are you an intense watcher, fan of the game now, watching them in the tournament?
So now let's see. Now, as a fan, honestly, it's fun to just watch them because I'm like a really intense fan. Like usually when I sit down and watch basketball, I'm always trying to learn something or see what I can find or recognize plays, try and sharpen my mental skills. This is one of the few things I can really just sit down and watch and just I feel like I'm just another student at Baylor just cheering them on.
What's more stressful, watching from at home or being a player in the game?
I'd say watching from home because I can't really there's nothing I can do to change the outcome. You know, I can't. I mean, you know, it's just usually when I'm in the game, I'm like, okay, it's all me. You know, I get my fate in my own hands. But with there, there's nothing I can do except just try and give my thoughts and prayers.
Freddie, the team has played so well. They had the stretch after the shutdown, but they've gotten everything, it seems, back. They shot the ball better, especially early against Arkansas, which was important. When you watch them, is there anything about this team that's different about last year's team?
Yeah, I mean, from basketball perspective, I mean, a lot of things are. One, I mean, Davion, last year we always called him a two-way player, but this, I mean, I think his offense is just as elite as his defense. I think last year a lot of people, his defense is what stood out to most people. And I still think that's his main calling card, but his offense is just as good, if sometimes even better, if you can believe that. And, his Davion, he's become like an offensive engine, and his ability to pass the ball and get the ball to people. His passing has improved immensely. That's one thing that's helped him. On the other end, Maceo, I mean, he's he's always been a big time shooter, but now, I mean, just his confidence is through the roof as of lately too. I think in the past, going back to the Big 12 tournament and a little bit before then, a couple games before then, his confidence is his scoring ability has just gone through the roof. His shooting is just the way he plays on offense is even better. And then Jared, again, Jared I'd say is kind of the opposite of Davion. Last year's offense kind of came through, but this year his defense has really shined through. Again with Jared, his offense probably comes to mind first, but his defense is at times sometimes just as good and if not better. For a couple games that he's had been better than his offense. All to say, so I think those are three things that immediately come to mind. And of course, Matt, Adam, Jonathan. Those three, especially Matt. I mean, sometimes he looks like sometimes he looks like the most improved player in the Big 12. And Adam is just right now he's coming off the bench as a sixth man right now, but he's capable of dropping 20 as well. So all those things, and then Jonathan and Flo, of course, are playing their role and being aggressive inside and working to dominate the paint. So I think those are the big things that stick out to me, like when I watch them.
What do you think of Matthew's individual growth from the time that he got there till now, where he's a much more complete player? And do you approve or disapprove of the haircut?
So disapprove of the haircut, and he knows that. So disapprove the haircut. But like I said, you know what? I will say that it's unique to him, and it's definitely he's easy to identify. So I'll give him that. In terms of there's some improvement. I think it's just I think his advances, his per 40 and his advanced statistics are off the charts. I mean, he's definitely. I think he might lead the Big 12 in steal percentage. So that helps. But just he's more comfortable. I mean, he's really a three-level scorer. His ability to pass, just trying to force things, making his decision making has improved immensely, and his recognition has improved immensely. Definitely, doesn't seem to be playing with as much anxiety or as rushed. All those things are great, and he's a guy. When I was in the G League bubble and talking to different people from different teams, and he's a guy that was brought up frequently. He was a guy like, yeah, he's only averaging like 14 minutes, but when he's out there, he looks. They said that he's a really impressive player with his build and ability to move. So, he's caught a few eyes.
Freddie, just how many people, who know you played at Baylor, are there like more conversations than ever at this point about your time there and talking about, the guys that and all of that because of what they're doing?
Yeah, I was working out today, and I was looking today, and I'm in Houston, so with my trainer out here, and one guy came in. He was I've never met him before, but he was like, "There's a Baylor Bear here." He said, "I feel like this is crazy." He said, "Baylor Bear here in the flesh." And that's the kind of the thing people were kind of like, "Oh, like." And I was talking to the airport. They were like, "Yo, wait, you're funny, you're right? Yeah, your team's in the But at that point, I think it was they were going to the second round or something like that. But anyways, they were like, a lot of recognition. Everyone talked about it and say, "Oh, how's Jared Butler? Hey, David, I think he's who's better, Dave? Who thinks better, Davion, Maceo, or Jared?" I'm like, well, they're all good in their own way. He's like, no, you have to pick one. So, yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of noise around it.
You mentioned it's like watching your younger or little brothers, but you're a part of that. That's family to you. Is there any part that you've had to stop for a second and go, damn, that could have been me last year?
Yeah, almost every single time I turn on to watch them play. It's kind of like bittersweet in that moment because it's like, it's so great because they're accomplishing everything that, I think that, that I believe that they were able to accomplish. But also, it's tough because I'm like, man, like, they're great this year, but we didn't suck last year, like, we didn't, but everyone got better, don't get me wrong, but I was like, last year, we were a pretty good team last year, and I didn't get a chance at that. So I look, but honestly, at the end of the day, a lot of guys going to get a chance for it. I'm just, I'm happy, healthy, and I get to watch them. I'm doing great. So, it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't for a lot of people, but it wasn't meant to be for me. And that's okay though, because again, I get to live vicariously through them. I still get to be a part of it.
Freddie, how much does it mean to you and to other players? I would imagine you probably got that T-shirt that they had sent out with all the former players' names on there, and I've seen that on social media. Just how much does it mean to you personally that there's still that connection? I mean, because you could very well graduate and go off, and I know that when you're getting recruited, coaches say, no, it's a lifetime bond and this and that, but it truly is with this staff and this program. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, so when I was back when I was a walk-on, my first, I think, like second month at Baylor, I think it was July, if I'm thinking correctly, it was July. So Tweety Carter came in, and I think it was still that Tweety Carter came in, and he was like, he was talking to the group. He said, this right here. He's like, it's a frat, it's a brotherhood, right? He said, he said, you can be one of us for life. He's like, right? And he said that, right? And he's like, we thick and thin. And he said that. He's like, I always think he's like, well, is he stopping by, be coming back, this and that. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, everyone says that, but no, I mean, he was right. He was to his credit, he was right. And I think that's what feels good to just know that, like, we all have that we all share that kind of bond. And I mean, even again, it always feels good to be a part of something. I think that's what a lot of people look for. Everyone kind of wants to be a part of something and form relationships, and it's just good that to have that. And then it's also great when you form those relationships and people get to be successful and they contribute some of that success to you, and all that, and they invite you to be part of their success. That always feels good too.
Freddie, you had your first year, and I know you would love to play in the NBA. That's your dream. What was the first year like? What did you learn about yourself?
This year is let's see, is this past year?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This past season, yes.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, I think for me, it's just, you grow, you learn, you live. I think one thing I've learned is that, especially in this special basketball business, one, enjoy college like you can, because it's a lot. The pros are a lot different than what college is. There's different dynamics, different politics to it, different. It's just a entirely different game, both on and off the court. So enjoy that. I know a lot of times in college, guys are itching to get out, but enjoy that college experience. Don't just rush past it. I didn't, but I was thinking that's one thing. Two, what I learned about myself is that, in this pro business, there's a lot of ups and downs and uncertainty and question marks, and your fate sometimes feels like it's in other people's hands, and you might not know what the next day or week or month is going to look like. But just be in the moment and enjoy every step. And for me, I think the big thing for me is just go with, no matter how high or low I get, to stay right in that middle. Just keep keep enjoying the process, as cliche as it sounds.
Freddie,
go ahead, Craig.
I was just going to ask real quick. I mean, you played in 15 games, averaged over 10 points, 10 rebounds. I mean, just from a game standpoint, what kind of feedback you're getting, and do you feel like you're playing at a pretty good level?
Yeah, I think again, for me, I just always try and grow my game every day. I mean, from year to year, day to day, I always try and just get better. And I think I'm happy with those 15 games I had. My game did grow. I got better at things. I learned some of the nuances of the pro game. Made some mistakes, but learned from them. I got better from game 1 to game 15. So for me, but yeah, I mean, some things I improved on. I think just understanding. For example, I think I became a better passer. I became better at I think for me, block was a big part of my game. But I think I had more skills in the flex than I've ever had. So being able to, so being able to do those things, I was fouling less, just things like that. So like I said, I think I improved my game in those areas.
Freddie, good luck. Thank you so much. I know you have everything booked to watch that thing on Saturday afternoon, Baylor in Houston, and hopefully the possibility Monday night as well. We really appreciate it. Devontae Bandu's coming up in about a half hour, so we'll make sure we tell him we said hi, and good luck again. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Freddie Gillespie joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Coming up next, Mac Roach, Baylor Director of Athletics, then Devontae Bandu. 5 o'clock hour, John Machota will join us from theathletic.com. Dick Vitale, Dickie V at 5:15. And then Joey McGuire from yesterday at football practice. Craig was there for that as well. This is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com can help you become the high-performance man that you feel like you need to be, or maybe you don't feel quite the way you used to. And PettyClinicLowT.com can help you with your testosterone levels if they're too low. How do they do that? You contact them, PettyClinicLowT.com. Call them. There's a number on the site. Call them or contact them through the site. And also their location on Old Hewitt Road, just off 84 in Woodway. Tell them Smokey sent you. They tell them, hey, I'm just curious. I may not be who I want to be. Maybe it's you're lethargic, you don't sleep well, your sex drive, something's going on. Contact them. They'll set you up to get lab work, blood work. Dr. Petty will look at your testosterone levels and a few other things as well. But check your testosterone levels that drop as you get older. Not for everybody. 1 out of every 3 men, though, have symptomatic issues with testosterone dropping. If you have issues with that, he can put you in a program to increase your testosterone levels to help you become the high-performance man that you want and need to be. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on new Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The 3P Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $7,250 or 0% for 72 months, plus $3,000 in combo cash. Visit the customer award-winning Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, for the 3-time Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab. Ram Truck Month is going on now at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool, upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts, and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes, is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Paul Catalina and Craig Smoak are both in studio. Armstrong Sims runs the mothership, our genius. SicEm365 Radio. Great to hear from Freddie Gillespie. Devontae Bandu will join us in just a little bit. Dick Vitale at 5:15. And then there's Mac Rhodes, Baylor Director of Athletics, who's also in Indianapolis. He joins us on SicEm365 Radio. What's it been like to watch? I know the women's finish did not end the way you wanted, but to have both of them in the Elite Eight, and now you have men's basketball in the Final Four.
Yeah, one, I have no more tickets, right? Let's get that straight and clear from the very beginning. But I heard you mention Freddie and Devontae, and it just brings back memories to last year, and hate it that both of them didn't get to experience this. But two terrific young men. So obviously phenomenal. Really, really sad and gut-wrenching for women's basketball, for our women's basketball student athletes. Hated to see that, and certainly you don't want and like a game to end that way. And so feel awful for them. And then, again, just a roller coaster of emotion, those 5 hours from that to the men persevering over a really, really good Arkansas team, and the first Final Four appearance, and I don't remember 70-some years, and certainly the first for Scott. And so happy for him and our young men and our staff. Just a great achievement, great accomplishment. Still a little bit surreal, but so it's been a lot easier navigating through the hotel with only 4 teams. The elevators move a lot quicker, so that's been a positive as well.
Mac, I've seen you wear out the soles of your shoes pacing during close basketball games before. The team, though, things get close and things get tight and they don't play well for a stretch, but they don't seem to get rattled. Does that put you at ease a little bit? Yeah, it does. They're obviously a veteran team, and they really don't seem to get rattled, and they stay together, and I think that's one of their greatest strengths, right? When you get to this level, and you get into the NCAA tournament period, but as you get deeper into it, each round by round, it gets harder and harder, and teams are going to make a run, and they're going to have some stretches of periods of time when they really, really test you, and our team up to this point in time has really handled it really well. I mean, have kept our composure, have continued to stay true to the things that have made us successful throughout the entire year. I love the fact that we have toughness and that we play so well on the defensive end, because those are two things that
can always be present, right? They travel, with you. We all know that no matter how great a shooting team you are, you can have an off night, and when you go 3 for 19 from the 3-point line and still find a way to win, that speaks to your toughness and to how well you play defensively.
Mac, I know that the journey's not done. I mean, there's at least one more game, potentially two, hopefully two, and perhaps a national championship. But getting to the Final Four for the first time in so long, I mean, 7 decades, how much can you kind of let that sink in, and how much did you let that sink in while also realizing, hey, there's still more to do out there?
Yeah, Craig's a great question because it's a fine balance, right? You're so excited because, again, it hasn't been done in 7 decades, and Scott's been here 18 years, and you've had 2 previous Elite Eights and hadn't gotten there, and so you're thrilled, you're overwhelmed, and when you're around this group of people and both the coaches and student athletes, just the quality of people, you want it so bad for them. So you accomplish it, and man, you're thrilled, you're elated. But then we're all competitors, right? We all want more. The journey's not finished. It's not complete, right? And so, try to then get refocused and say, hey, we've got a game on Saturday at 4:14 p.m. Central Time against a really, really good Houston team. And we need to get our minds wrapped around that, locked in, and do everything we can to try to beat that team, and then have a chance at a national championship.
So I think you once were at Houston. And I know there was supposed to be a football game that, of course, was put together and then all of a sudden evaporated. But any emotions with that at all?
Yeah, sure. There's some emotions, right? First and foremost, I am a Baylor person. Amy and I are Baylor people through and through. But we've been blessed to be at some great places, some great institutions, and have formed some lifetime friendships and relationships, and so we spent 5 great years there, and we have a lot of friends, and it's been chronicled about Kelvin, and so happy for him. Alvin Brooks Sr. is a dear friend of mine, and by the way, what a special moment that was. After our game, it was probably about 1:15 a.m. when we arrived back at the hotel, and to see Alvin Brooks Sr. come on down and Al Brooks Jr. and for them to give each other a hug, that was really cool and special. But their family is really good friends. Amy's really good friends with Alvin Sr.'s wife, and so there's some emotion there, and wish them the best, but make no mistake, I want to beat them, and Baylor's our school, and we have the best coach in the country in Scott Drew.
Did you ever, when you hired Kelvin Sampson there at Houston, he was coming off, he had he had violated a rule that they since changed. Did you have to push back against anything, or was it a pretty easy decision once you gauged his interest?
Yeah, I think that once we did our due diligence and talked to I talked to Joe Castiglione at Oklahoma extensively. I talked to the number 2 person at Indiana extensively, talked to the NCAA extensively, and I think once we did our due diligence and I had all of those conversations, but mainly just the 2 or 3 conversations that Kelvin and I had, I felt really good good about it. And Kelvin's a good person, made a mistake. He owned up to it, didn't make any excuses, never said, well, hey, that's not even a rule anymore. He owned it. And, again, he deserved a second chance. If Houston wasn't going to give him a second chance, somebody else was. And he's done the most with it. So really a good coach.
So, Mac, with that women's game, I know you kind of touched on it there at the beginning. I mean, obviously just a brutal circumstance there at the end, and we can go through every minute of that game and say, well, that should have been called or that shouldn't have been called. But, I mean, frustration aside, just kind of how do you view the way that game unfolded?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if UConn goes on to win the national championship. I follow women's basketball, and this is no disrespect to the other three that are in the Final Four, but man, that really felt like the national championship game. Really felt like, at least in terms of my own eyes, that those were the two best teams in women's basketball, and it was a great game and a game of runs. Obviously, thought it really hurt us. Obviously, when Dee pulled a hamstring and she had to leave the game, and that left an opening for UConn. And again, it was just a really high level, high skilled women's basketball game. And you never sit here and blame it on the officials or on a particular call, but it is unfortunate because I thought, and I think everybody would agree. I don't know how you could disagree, but that was a missed call, and it's unfortunate that it happened and happened at that moment in time, that time of the game.
Mac, if you don't mind, what does this mean? Every time a team in the conference moves on, you get like another notch of money. How does it affect the conference as far as in revenue? And also then how do you end up with what you end up with?
Yeah, it's an interesting formula, Smoak. And, each appearance and every time you advance is worth one unit, right? And in each unit, and I don't have the recent number, but 2 or 3 years ago, each unit was valued at approximately $260,000 to $280,000 in that range, right? And so you accumulate all of those units, right? And so for example, this year, right off the bat, that the Big 12 accumulated 7 units because we had 7 teams make the tournament, right? And then for every time you advance, like I mentioned, you get another unit. And then those units are compiled over a 6-year window. And that 6-year window, that totality of that 6-year window is what the conference receives in revenue, right? And so that's a pretty good chunk of revenue that the conference receives every year. And then we distribute that, the Big 12 distributes that evenly amongst all 10 schools. So, it's, and that's the way, in my opinion, that's the way to do it. We're one conference, right? All 10 of us in it together, but that's how it works.
So, Mac, I guess it would be fair to say that Baylor's made the Big 12 a lot of good money here in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly helped out as have others in the conference, but I'm glad and happy and proud that we've been able to do our share.
Mac, I want to circle back to officiating real quick. We talked about this on the show yesterday, and I know it's a different level from pro to college, but you do have a lot of money and a lot of things going through college athletics. In the NFL, after a game, there's one pool reporter that gets to go in and ask questions to the officials about the calls that they made. Most games, it's probably pretty mundane, but sometimes, obviously, they have to answer for things. Would you be in favor of something like that for officials so that there is a little bit more accountability other than, we just missed it, or is that maybe beyond the pale?
Our officials, and again, I have great respect for our officials. So I first want to state that, but they're well paid, well compensated, right? It's they have a huge role in the game, and I like the fact that there should be some accountability that accompanies it. Right now, there is they're evaluated and after each game and within a conference, right? You've got your coordinator of officials who's talking through it, walking them through those evaluations, on that Monday. And then, obviously the NCAA has a system where, officials, if you do well, you continue to advance. But, Paul, I like that element, because I think it's just another layer of holding, people accountable. Coaches have to do it. They have to get up, in front of the media and answer sometimes some really difficult questions.
I would be remiss if so you've made the today the $4.4 million based on if it's $275,000 a unit based on 7 teams and then the wins. You've had 4, et cetera. So you've made some money from the conference. Are you ever going to get that from the conference at Baylor?
Oh, God.
Anything like what you have earned over the years.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes into a pool and it's evenly distributed, and that's the right way to do it. And the conference is really fair in how they distribute revenue, and so I have. We do the same thing with bowl games. We do the same thing with, the CFP, which is a large chunk of revenue. And, the largest chunk of revenue, football TV money, first tier rights, ESPN and Fox, we divide that evenly. So, it's a good system and it works out, and I certainly think it's fair, and what you hope, right, as a conference member, that we are a positive contribution for the conference, and thankfully I think we have been. When you think about Sugar Bowl appearance, that's part of CFP. Men's basketball, the tournament this year. So I'm grateful that we've been able to be a positive contributing member to the conference.
Hey, we'll tell Freddie Gillespie and I'll tell Devontae Bandu as well that you said hello, and also wish them the best of luck, and also they're a part of this. Thank you, Mac. Appreciate your time. See you Saturday sometime around 4:15.
All right. Looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Mac Rhodes, Director of Athletics at Baylor, on SicEm365 Radio. Both of you took your headsets off.
Well, I mean,
and just
he didn't even answer it. He didn't
answer the question
because we didn't follow up with it.
Yeah, but you keep here's my thing about that question, and everybody who wants to know. It'll happen when it happens.
Yeah, that's kind of
it'll happen when it happens.
Maybe he would have said that.
But he didn't, though. He got around it. He didn't really address it because
it will happen when it happens.
Talking about the split revenue, and you were very clearly talking about the money that's been pulled up for 17 years now. But I did want to ask him, and I guess I'll try and remember for next week, but there was an article out on, I think it was Yahoo Sports yesterday from somebody basically saying that there's never been any less confidence in the NCAA's leadership than there is right now. It was quoting all these athletic directors that were unnamed, obviously, but more and more talk about breaking away. And I know we've talked about with him, but I was going to ask Mac, not his personal opinion, because I know he wouldn't give that on Mark Emmert, but whether or not he feels that is the feeling in the room amongst the Power Fives, that this is not going the way they want it to go.
Mark Emmert gave an interview about the weight room, the inequality issues with the tournament and weight room and food and all those things. And he said, yes, it's certainly a problem. And then he basically I'm going to let them figure that out. Then what do you do, Mark? What do you do?
Yeah.
When you go into the office in the morning, what do you do? Like, why are these schools paying you probably $1 million+ a year?
No, he's making like $2
million a year. What do you do, Mark? What?
And that's part of that article, is that they're saying like he's making all this money, and I don't think anybody really knows what he's doing. They had the name, image, likeness stuff. They had years to try and address that. Did absolutely nothing to address it. Like absolutely nothing.
It's like they wait to go to court.
Yeah.
They were there today.
Yeah, they wait to go to court to make their argument, as opposed to, hey, maybe let's not go to court.
Right.
We're going to lose. Like, get some good legal advice. It's like, you guys are going to lose. The trains are on the tracks. You're going to lose. Here's the legal precedent that you're going to be up against. You're going to lose. And instead of saying that, they've just been like, nah, we can win this. We got it.
They show up for the test without studying every single time.
You're right. They did meet the Supreme Court, the NCAA, the business model, all of that. It was a landmark. This is from Dan Murphy of ESPN. I'll read one sentence or two, and then we got a break with Devontae. The landmark hearing for the future of college sports, expressing concerns about a slippery slope of judicial rulings that could lead to the destruction of an American tradition. The Supreme Court heard more than 90 minutes of arguments today in the Alston versus NCAA case. The question in front of the court is whether the NCAA deserves special relief from antitrust rules in order to protect its educational mission. We know all that. There was a lot of talk. Even I heard some of the justices who said, well, there's a lot of people in this country that are fed up with the kind of salaries that are going high. This is so messy.
I'll tell you this. If you look at the way that these justices have ruled, like this Supreme Court, which has been, the last 8-9 months of these justices, there's not like... They're not politically swayed at all, because half the cases they've heard have been very one side or the other political, and they rule based on the facts of the case. And the NCAA is going to have to pull a rabbit out of more than a hat, if you know what I'm saying, if they're going to win this.
Like lower than your hat?
Yes.
Well, based on what I read, I mean, there's some understanding of the collegiate model, and there are some that appear to be open to like preserving that. So as some reporter put it, I forget who it was, but they said like this could precipitate change. Like obviously something's going to change, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if they decide like, there needs to be more given to athletes, that it's going to mean free agency NFL style and things like that, because I wouldn't cover it. Like, sorry guys, but I'm not covering. I mean, it's as close to the NFL as it's going to get right now, but I'm not covering it when all of a sudden like the Baylor wide receivers signing $2,000 a season, I mean, that seems silly to me. I mean, there is a difference. There is something that does need to change, but we already have the NFL. These guys play to go to the NFL. They deserve some compensation, but I do think there are people politically who are understanding of the kind of keeping the model as far as the way we feel about it and kind of how it's viewed together. But obviously there are, like I say, going to be some things that change.
Yeah, there was a quote from Jeffrey Kessler, who is, of course, an attorney, several cases. The justice pushed back on the idea that providing athletes with money would cause the public to lose interest in college sports. There's a lot. It's a good story. Yeah.
I disagree. Well, I think a lot of people would lose interest.
I think it changes. I do. I think that they do deserve. They're getting more now than ever before, and now everyone wants it to just be like free agency, which also the transfer portal's like that as well.
How many of us have been like multiple times vaccinated because we're athletes on campus? And have been I mean, I know that that's also an annoyance and a hindrance.
Or tested, yeah.
But they're getting tested all the time. Mm-hmm. They're getting, constant checkups. I mean, so when we talk about the money side of it, it's always this focus on cash. It's you realize that? It's never like, hey, money should go to a fund for my child's college education one day, or it should go to transportation, or it should go to, it's always just money. Just want money. And that's where I kind of come to this crossroads of like, I don't agree with that all the way.
When we come back, Devontae Bandu, former Baylor star, and, he's in the Canadian Elite League. He'll join us next. We had Freddie Gillespie as well. Dick Vitale at 5:15. SicEm365 Radio. On average, an MRI costs over $1,100, and every time you go to Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace, just off of I-35 and Loop 340, Highway 6 in Waco, it's $497 or less every time. It's not $497. The next time it's $1,500. It's not $2,500. It's not $866. It's $497 or less every single time. So if you need a muscle or anything that hurts, a ligament, something that's not quite right, and you have talked to your doctor, and they have said, hey, we need to get an MRI. You tell the doctor, idealmri.com. I want to go there. What do you see? Let them talk to you about it, have their suggestions, but you say, how about Ideal MRI? Because they know. Ideal MRI has a state-of-the-art technology MRI machine. It's as nice as you'll get, and it's right there in your backyard if you live in Central Texas. And some do drive into town to be a part of it because of the cost. $497 or less every single time. No long wait when you're there inside some big lobby. You check in online, you get there, they check you in, the Texan specialist meets you, they talk to you, and then you get your MRI. It's simple, it's easy, and it's also very, very much going to save you some money at idealmri.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
We've heard from Freddie Gillespie and now Devontae Bandu, who signed a contract with the Saskatchewan Rattlers of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Signed a contract, of course, Baylor in the Final Four, where he was a part of this team as recently as about a year ago. Devontae, congratulations on the contract. Give me a little idea, background about the league and how often you've been in touch with them or vice versa.
It's a great league. So we're like best leagues in North America besides, like the NBA. But it was something just that I just need to start playing, due to I tore ligament in my foot, so I was out for 5 months and, missed a lot of opportunities to, play in the G League and, work out for teams because they're just going through injuries. So I just, getting feedback from teams, they want to see me play. So, I was like, instead of maybe going across the ocean, maybe just stay home for a little bit and get some reps over there.
Devontae, when you see what this team is doing, and I know that you guys, got robbed of your shot to do this last year, what are your emotions with seeing your brothers in the Final Four?
It stings, man, a little bit because, it would have been great, to go back to back. I feel like last year we were capable of going to the Final Four also. But, I'm so super proud of those guys, and the coaching staff and the GAs that are there. It's well deserved, and you can tell when they play, like you see a chip on their shoulder, that they belong there. So it's great to see and it's great to watch.
How special is that coaching staff, Devontae, and how special is the bond you still have with the program as a former player? We saw they sent out, T-shirts with everybody's name on it to commemorate the Final Four. They've been talking about how everybody who's ever played at Baylor is a part of this. I mean, just what does that mean to you? Because a lot of colleges can talk about, the relationship after you graduate or after you leave, but Baylor actually, in Scott Drew's case, does it. And I know Kim Mulkey does too. How do you feel about that?
It's amazing, like you just said, not a lot of programs do that, and you feel like you're forever a part of that program. Even 50 years from now, your name will still be called, and it's something that's it's fantastic, and something that I'm very happy to be a part of. To the point like I'm thinking about going to Indiana and watching the Final Four because I just have so much support and love for this program, and yeah.
You mentioned it's kind of bittersweet. Freddie said that as well. Have you gotten over yet what happened? Is that something that will stick with you? If they win the title, will you feel like that's part of yours too?
Nah. To be honest, I'm over it. The first month or two was hard to swallow. I'm a big believer in God, and I just feel like maybe. I was the guy that, or me and Freddie were the guys that, just helped paint that wave, for where they are, like we help. And to me, that's still special to me. Just knowing that, I was playing with those people guys and I helped. So, not getting a chance, yes, that stings. And, knowing that, there's possibly like, we could have went to the final and, play on one of the biggest televised games, but you got to swallow it because you can't bring it back no matter how much you think about it. So I'm just glad I can watch it and live through it through that way.
You've played and had to practice against out the whole team, but these guards in particular. What is it like? What is it like to have to go against Davion Mitchell when he's guarding you?
what's it like?
Yeah.
You know, he's fast. You know, he's a great defender. You know, a guy that, you know, makes you feel uncomfortable and puts you in uncomfortable situations. You know, and that's what great defenders do. You know, they put you in positions where you're uncomfortable and where you are not comfortable scoring. So that's one thing about him. And not only him, you know, all those guards can play. And you can't forget about Mark. So those guys they take pride in their defensive, and if that's an ice one-on-one switching, you know, tagging, you know, they do it. You know, if they go down and rip the ball in the big, you know, they take very much pride in it. And, you know, those guys, like I said, those guys are dogs, and they can make plays for others. So, you know, having guards like that you can tell Bears offense, it's very pick and roll, and they make their own plays, and that's hard to teach. And, you know, that's why we were so good this year and last year, because we just had guards that, you know, Coach would let us 4 guards, you know, come off ball screens and make reads, and that's something that you really can't teach.
Devontae, we've heard a lot of, you know, just former players comment and tell stories about, you know, Matthew Meyer when he first arrived on campus. He was kind of like a wild Mustang, you know, had to get broken in a little bit and toned down a little bit. Obviously super talented. You know, kind of what were your first impressions of his talent and getting to know him, and now seeing what he's done this year? I mean, even though he's coming off the bench, the type of impact that he has.
Yeah, so Matt was my first roommate coming in, and you know that like I still stay in contact with him, and that guy will forever be my guy, you know, forever. And that guy, he's always had a knack for scoring. You know, we all know Matt. You know, when he gets on there, he can shoot the ball if it's a bad shot or if it's a good shot. And one thing you got to give Matt is that he has a short conscience, and, you know, he'll make a mistake, and it's like he forgot about 30 seconds after, and that's something that you just can't teach. And I think that's one thing that he can really help Baylor come up to bench. If, you know, if those guards are struggling, you know, he's the guy that can come in and bring some firepower, you know, and he can pass, he can throw the lob, he can hit an open shot, he can create his own shot. So, you know, just seeing Matt break out, it's not a surprise for me. But it's something I always knew he was capable of doing.
How many times, Devontae, when he was your roommate, how many times, though, when you guys got back, it was getting late in the day and you get behind the door closed, did you go, "What are you doing? You're driving us crazy"?
No, to be honest, he was such an uplifting guy. And he was so positive, you know, and even if he had, you know, those spurts of, you know, bad shots or whatever, you know, it's hard. You know, those guys, you know, those people, it's just hard to be mad at them. Mm-hmm. It's just hard, you know. That's one of those guys. You just can't, you know, you just can't be mad at him. And it's just his personality and his persona. It's just one of those guys that you just can't, you know. And that's a great quality trait that he has.
You'll notice, like, Devontae did this, but every player, when we ask about Matthew Meyer, there's always like a chuckle at first because, you know, they're always like, ha ha.
Well, yeah. And look, and Devontae, look, we've surveyed everybody. Like, there's nobody who seconded his haircut or anything like that. Like, everybody, but he cuts his own path, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's a great thing. You know, he's not a follower. He does what he likes to do, and, you know, like I said, that's something that you can't teach. So, you know, he's really one of a kind guy.
Devontae, good luck. What is the plan now with the Canadian Elite? What is their schedule? Have they already finished the year? Is it a spring, summer? How do they go about their business?
It's just a summer, so a month and a half. Just play against some professionals, former NBA guys, former G League guys. You know, just guys that just play in the summer, and then I should have some like workouts with some teams right after that or during that. So just something that you know, like I said, just trying to play basketball. You know, it's been a long time since I played, going through an injury, tearing a ligament. So yeah, it's something to get back to, something I'm passionate about, and I'm actually grateful that I went through this little injury. You know, it just helped me build character and, you know, and find myself deeper.
Congratulations. Good luck. We'll be, again, staying in touch with you. Appreciate your time. Always appreciated the way you represented yourself and Baylor, and have a great weekend.
man. Thank you for the call. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks
That's
a lot,
Devontae Bandu. Craig?
I said thanks a lot, man.
Oh, okay. All right. When we come back, we're going to hear from Gino Auriemma on that 2-minute clip about, he was asked today about Kim Mulkey's comments. Of course, everyone went, oh my God. And Gino with some backstory to that. And then Dickie V, Dick Vitale at 5:15. We'll also today hear from Joey McGuire from practice yesterday. Craig was there. Pro Day today. Indianapolis, Waco, throughout Central Texas. This is SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. It's simple. Championship March to March Madness and through March Madness for Baylor and the men's basketball team. The women's so close to also playing this weekend. At Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, they are having their championship push. Ram Truck Month, Dodge Performance Days, and the Jeep Celebration event. For example, the new 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus 6,000 total values are 0% for 84 months. The 2021 new Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited, $5,500 in total values or 0% for 72 months, plus 1,000 combo cash, or the 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude. Total values of $7,250 or 0% for 84 months. And Ram trucks, of course, the three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year, back-to-back-to-back years. The 2021 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, values of $7,000 or 0% for 84 months. Certified by J.D. Power again this year as the winner of the Customer First Award for Excellence, your friend in the car business. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed. Smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
The Baylor Bears are back in the Final Four for the first time in 71 years.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Here goes Mitchell. Oh, what a pass! Dragging off that baseline, Maceo Teague.
Our coverage of the NCAA Tourney in Indianapolis is brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Marco's Pizza, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Willis Law Firm, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, First National Bank of Central Texas, The Nitchie Group, and Pickup Outfitters.
Vital gets it to the far side. Teague up high off the glass. Oh, nice! Vital had to revitalize.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Brad Wilson. Investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Deflection ended right on that midcourt line. Now Butler has it up ahead. Got numbers. Mitchell with the left hand scores.
Now we go live to coverage of the NCAA Men's Tournament in Indianapolis. Here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
So we'll hear from Dick Vitale here in the next segment, then Joey McGuire from football practice. There was the comment from Kim Mulkey. Yes, a lot of the Dejanay Carrington shot, the block, the foul, whatever, the ending of that incredible game on Monday evening. And then Kim was asked, I don't know, or she went into a part about COVID and that it would be a shame that if teams who make it to the Final Four had to go through testing or had a player come up positive or a team was knocked out and so it sounded like she was just kind of going off the cuff. And at times we know that she has done that. But she actually had a basis from medical people of what she was talking about. And she had spoken with UConn's head coach, Gino Auriemma. They're close. They know each other well. A lot of women's basketball coaches don't like Gino because he beats the hell out of them. And, of course, they may not like Kim because she does too. But these two are pretty tight. And here is Gino Auriemma explaining when asked about Kim's comments about the Final Four and COVID testing.
Well, you know, Kim and I had a conversation before the game. And, you know, we talked about that and how it would be tragic if you had to suspend a whole team and the team gets a bye into the championship game. You know, so I understand that line of thinking. I also think Kim's comments, you know, they're being criticized, but in reality, what Kim was doing was an extension of a conversation that we had, a Zoom call with the NCAA the head of the NCAA medical staff, who said to us coaches that after the Sweet 16, that having been in a bubble for this amount of time and having been tested every day for this amount of time, the chances that someone would test positive between, you know, Monday or Tuesday, whatever, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to use their words, were remote. So I think that's where the comments, you know, were, you know, a result of those conversations that were had. And as you can see, you know, people have various opinions on, you know, whatever their opinion wants to be. you know.
Yeah, there's Gino Auriemma. We'll get Dickie V here in a second. But, yeah, I mean, the one thing I would have said to Kim, and Smokey, I told you this on the phone today when you were telling me to look out for this clip, was the next question. Nobody followed up with Kim after she said it, and nobody followed up and gave her the opportunity to, like, expand on it.
Paul, they were too busy writing the article already.
Yeah, I mean, so it was kind of reckless in the fact, and like the next question up, the reporter wasn't ready for what she just said, so he just asked the question that he already had in the barrel. But I mean, there are other questions. I mean, there was still press conference. I think there was 2 more questions after that. Nobody asked her, like, can you kind of expand on that? Why you think that, as opposed to, all right, let's put her on blast on Twitter, because that's what you do nowadays. Because when she said it, I thought, oh, well, that's different, but I kind of get it. She needs 2 more sentences. And she could have probably been like, okay, well, I get why she said it.
Yeah, and I think there was another part that he apparently said, or at least I saw a quote from, where he said, you know, as far as it's along the lines of, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care either way, was basically his message. So he's saying he doesn't care if they test. He's also explaining the backstory. Now, I think Kim probably would have done herself a little bit of a service in kind of stating the basis for why she launched into what she said. And had she said that, hey, Gino and I were on a phone call with the NCAA talking about this, then I don't think really any articles are written, because Gino, I've seen, you know, I've retweeted it, and it went from like 1 retweet and like 3 likes to like 6 and 29 now. But Deadspin's not going to pick this up. ESPN, Sports Illustrated. If you Google Kim Mulkey's name right now, there's like 10 stories from 2 days ago when she made those comments from every major outlet. If you Google Gino Auriemma's name right now, it's all about everything but the comments that we're talking about right now. And this is what I talk about with the media, this double standard, this just BS way of not even reporting the news, but reporting your opinions. This is a prime example of that, because they will not write an article, I can't believe Gino said he doesn't care if they test, or I can't believe they won't bring it up again, because that's what these types of people do. When they have a point, they are the most talkative people in the world. As soon as you provide them with an alternative point, they go into a shell and hide away and just don't acknowledge it, because they can't, because all of a sudden, if they try to, their argument just goes away. So the tactic I see on Twitter and social media so many times nowadays is get this buildup of a bunch of people feeling a certain way to the point of where it gets all this momentum, and that way, even if you turn out to be wrong, well, it doesn't really matter. And that's kind of what this is right here. And there's a whole lot of it doesn't really matters in the media nowadays, and I'm just sick and tired of it.
Yeah, I agree. No question. It was good to hear Gino say what he said today, and good that someone asked him. We're now joined by the legend, Dick Vitale, Dickie V. Coach Vitale from ESPN, College Basketball Hall of Famer on SicEm365 Radio. Dick, thanks for your time. We always appreciate it. I know it's a crazy time for you. When you watch Baylor play, your thoughts, we've talked about it with you before, but are they now back to where they were prior to when they kind of went through that sluggish issue with the pause?
Well, you know, they had the pause, and they were 17-0, and they were playing brilliantly. Then that pause set them back a little, but they seem to be on track now, and they play in great spurts. They just got to be a little more consistent with all their people. But I'm going to tell you something. I think we're heading for Gonzaga versus Baylor for the championship. I really do. It's going to be just a phenomenal feeling, because it'll be number 1, number 2, basically all year. And isn't that a beautiful way to finish the season? It would be incredible.
Jared Butler is the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year, but Davion Mitchell is Scott Drew called him the pace guard. What's that makes them go? What's impressed you most about him this year, his defensive game or his offensive growth?
Well, you know, I think both areas he excels. That's the one that makes him special. He guards people. He can also stroke the jumper, and he's just a winner. I just think he's had a phenomenal year. You know, I think their guards, I've said it so many times. I said it on ESPN this week. I've been on SportsCenter a number of times. I'll be doing a game, doing the first game. Have they determined yet which is the first game?
It's Baylor. Yeah, it's Baylor in Houston at 5:15 or so Eastern time.
Yeah, I'm doing that game on ESPN International. Be heard it all over about. Sean McDonough and I do it every year on the international broadcast, which CBS has the rights here. but we're heard over in about 300 countries. And I'll say it during that game, and I've said it on SportsCenter this week. They got the deepest and the best backcourt in all of basketball. When you factor in Teague and Mitchell and Butler, and you throw in Flagler off the bench, those four are as good as it gets.
Dickie V, I know you've spoken about Scott Drew in the past, but now he's got the Final Four officially on his resume. A lot of people have talked about, when he first arrived and all of that, but seeing him reach the Final Four now and having that a part of his accolades, just your thoughts on the growth of Scott Drew as a head coach.
Well, he's done a fantastic job. What he did in that program from where it was when he arrived to where it is today, it's just night and day. I mean, it's a complete 180. He's done an amazing job. He's really a good person. That's what I love about him. He's not just only a fine coach. He's a great humanitarian, comes from a great family, Homer and brother Bryce, their mom. They're just good people. And I think you're very blessed and very lucky at Baylor to have him. And he would say, I'm very lucky to be at Baylor. That's the kind of guy he is.
Dick Vitale with us on SicEm365 Radio. When you watch Gonzaga, and everyone knows all the data, the analytics, and how dominant they've been, how can you beat them, Dickie V?
Well, you got to have a little praise out there. I think, number one, they're not a deep basketball team. They're not deep at all. Obviously, they play 7 guys. Watson, the big guy with the bench, and occasionally they'll play the kid Cook. So if you can maybe go and get Jimmy in foul trouble, I mean, that's a start, but it's easier said than done. I think what they do really well, and you look at the numbers, they're just incredible. I mean, lead the nation in scoring, lead the nation in field goal percentage, 55%, score over 90 a game. They lead the nation in assists, showing how unselfish they are, 18 assists per game. They defend way better than people believe as well. That really gets lost because of their offensive efficiency. But, it's a one-game shot. 4 out of 7, I don't think anybody beats them. But one night out, I mean, who knows? Take a look right now and watch it with UCLA. Who'd ever believe they'd be where they are? They beat the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed, both in dramatic fashion to survive and advance. And you know what that brings me to think? And I put it up on Twitter today. That brings back a memory to me of 1983, a school that were told no chance, no shot, especially in Phi Slamma Jamma, Houston. And that's my buddy Jimmy V up in heaven now. Jimmy V and his North Carolina State team. They had to beat a great top 5 in the country teams in Virginia with Ralph Sampson, had to beat Michael Jordan in Carolina just to get in the tournament. And when they got in the tournament, there was just one close game after another, and it was survive and advance. That's where the theory came. Survive and advance. So who knows? You take a look at UCLA right now, I would have never believed that they could come in. They had lost their last 4 games prior to coming into the play-in game. They lost 4 games in a row. How do you figure? And all of a sudden they're defending and making shots. The kid Zhang has been off the charts. He had 29 out of 51 points. I mean, what do you think Kentucky fans must be thinking? He had left Kentucky, didn't even get off the bench basically at Kentucky. I mean, he played a little bit, but nothing home to write about. And here he is, a star of stars. So, again, that's why they call it, guys, madness. March Madness. One never, ever, ever knows. 4 out of 7, that's why I always say we're head and shoulders above the NBA for excitement. I think it's the greatest sporting event of them all. I don't think there's another sporting event that can match the drama, the emotion, the passion that takes place for a 3-week period.
What are your thoughts on the job that Kelvin Sampson has done at Houston?
What can you say? What can you say? He's done a great job, and they do it with defense. They're I think it's the first time, I can't remember it happening, being 4 double-digit seeds to get into the Final Four. They did what they had to do. They took care of people. You can't argue about, who do they play? You play who's in front of you. You play who's there, and your job is trying to get it done, and have done it really solidly. They do it defensively. I mean, their defensive numbers are crazy. They lead the nation, I believe, in scoring defense, or it's certainly right up there. They're up there in field goal percentage defensively. They're in the top 10 in terms of, many categories. So the bottom line is they defend. That's their staple. And then the kid Sasser and Grimes, they can put points on the board. And the one kid, certainly Jarreau, does a terrific job and fill up a stat sheet. So again, Russian rebounds for them. They're just a good, solid basketball team. I think personally that American Atlantic Conference is so underrated. I really do. I mean, Memphis, I thought should have been in the tournament. They won 11 of the last 13 games, and the only 2 games they lost were in the last second twice. Not once, twice to Houston.
So, Dickie V, 2 good defensive teams, 2 really good head coaches. What do you make of this Baylor and Houston matchup coming up here?
Well, I just said a little bit earlier, Baylor's moving on. I think Baylor offensively has the edge. I really do. I think that Baylor will move on. I think they need a breakout game, though, from guys like Teague and them to really, really step it up. And Butler as well, because he hasn't shot the ball well in this tournament like he's capable of doing. And I really think I think it's been really great for them. It's Flagler and the Meyer off the bench. They've really been good for them.
Dick, I know you got to go. The gala, you want to throw that out there real quick? Not just throw it out there because it's an amazing thing what you do.
Well, Scott's coming down to introduce me, and the following year, Scott's one of our honorees. He'll be introducing me at this year's gala. It's May 7th. It's at the Ritz-Carlton Resort. We'll sell out. It's all for kids battling cancer. People can make donations, and we need some help up there. So I beg you, on behalf of the kids out there, it means so much to me if they could go to dickvitale.com and make a donation. That's dickvitale.com.
Coach, thank you. As always, you're the best. Thanks for your time. Dick Vitale.
Appreciate it.
Hall of Famer with us on SicEm365 Radio. May 7th, the gala, dickvitale.com. And he said this year that Scott Drew will introduce him. As he worked on Coach Drew quite a bit for trying to get down there, and he's been a part of it now.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to go to that. It'd be such a downer event with Scott Drew introducing Dickie V. It'd be like taking NyQuil. No, golly, can you imagine the energy?
I think y'all are missing, too, that he said he's getting honored the following year.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
a pretty cool deal there. So, yeah, always cool to hear Dick Vitale, and he thinks the Bears are moving on, and I think that's probably most people's opinion, but I'm sure Houston's loving that and absolutely using it as fuel for their fire to play the underdog role or what have you. But I'm expecting a great game here shortly, and just wish we could go ahead and go home and turn the TVs on and get ready to watch it right now. Quite frankly,
3 more days?
Yeah, it's got a long way to go, man.
We have 48 hours, no, 70, nearly 72 hours, 71 hours.
I do have to compliment Viacom, CBS, whoever made this decision, but finally, 2 teams in the Central Time Zone is the earlier game. Yeah. So there you go. Congratulations. As opposed to not making a game that's 2 teams in the Pacific Time Zone have their people watch a game at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So good job, TV. You got one right.
That deal on Monday night, I got back to the room just before 2 a.m., and it's maybe a 15 or 20-minute walk, in which, Paul, you and I were on the phone talking a little bit during that time. And so dickvitale.com on that gala, May the 7th, Scott Drew introduces him, and as Craig mentioned, he will be honored by that gala and by the organization the following year. Now, practice yesterday for Baylor football. Today was the pro day. Joey McGuire was the featured coach available to the media following their practice. When we come back, we'll hear from Joey McGuire. And if you want Mac Roach's number on free tickets to the Final Four, Paul, what number is his number?
1-800, don't call Mac.
Yeah, it was funny as hell. He goes, I don't have any more tickets. I can't even imagine. But we've had a lot of you ask me, hey, how do we get tickets? I don't know.
I saw our good buddy Deontay just tweet a little while ago. I guess he was looking at I saw a tweet from him the other night, our good pal Deontay, who's saying, he missed out on going to the last couple of Final Fours and he needs to get there. And then I see a tweet from him a couple days later here this afternoon. He's like, $600, you can only imagine that's a pretty hot ticket, those Final Four tickets. And a lot of people from the state of Texas, I would imagine, heading to Indianapolis if they haven't already arrived here in the last few days.
Yeah, it's going to be great. 2 former Southwest Conference teams, Kelvin Sampson, Scott Drew, Drew's 0-6 against Sampson his first 3 years at Baylor. They lost twice each year. Not a surprise. We'll see what happens. Ought to be great. I love the way Houston plays as well. And then, of course, Gonzaga against who is hard to say Cinderella with UCLA with all that they did in the wooden years, and they won it before since then.
They went,
but
what is it? I guess it was 66 games in a row. But if you Isn't that the record was 66 that they had?
Oh, 88.
88 wins. But when you think about the 2 seasons in a row that they were 30-0 and 30-0.
Yeah, they didn't play anybody though.
I mean,
yeah, no, it's. I had somebody.
It's incredible.
I respect him a lot. He goes, you do know that back in the late 40s, early 50s, there were only 8 teams in the tournament. Yeah, it's a much different deal. There used to be 32 when UCLA dominated. And so you play like Dick Vitale said, it's Houston's fault that other teams are beating higher seeds, and it's surely they're not going to apologize for being where they are. When we come back, Joey McGuire, Baylor linebackers coach, assistant head football coach, will also get into some other things. I did all the things that Mac mentioned, the units. So 7 units if you make the tournament, and they had 7 teams. Then on top of that, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State each won a game. So I don't know if that's a unit, and then if they play, if that's another unit, but Baylor's got the 4 wins. If you don't count the losses, that's 16 units and nearly $4.5 million. And there's still, of course, more to come. And then I didn't know it's averaged over a 6-year period of time. So the stronger and deeper the Big 12 can be, the better that all of that money goes into the various universities through the Big 12 and from CBS, NCAA, and the tournament. When we come back, Joey McGuire, SicEm365 Radio. Pickup Outfitters spoke with Jay Arrett. Oh, by the way, Pickup Outfitters and Chapman's Bail Bonds, the newest sponsors of our coverage of the NCAA tournament, throughout the tournament and Indianapolis and any of the post-game shows. I hope everyone's listening to that these sponsors are a part of any post-game shows that we do as well. And Pickup Outfitters, well, you've heard of catskin leather. You're kind of guy that likes to drive around, maybe with that comfortable leather. Specifically catskin leather. They are the leader brand of leather replacement seats, and Pickup Outfitters of Waco is a catskin authorized dealer and preferred installer. Pickup Outfitters will remove the old cloth from your seats, replace it with luxurious customer leather, and the customization options are almost endless. You choose the colors you want, the type of stitching you want, and then let Pickup Outfitters do their magic, which they do. A very cool video on their website, createacommotion.com, about the process. They can even work on trucks and cars that already have leather, but it's getting worn a little bit. And you just you maybe don't like the color. Let Pickup Outfitters of Waco replace it. And they do have catskin leather replacement kits for both cars and trucks as well. Custom leather seats, factory matching leather kits. Let Pickup Outfitters of Waco outfit your truck with catskin leather. Give them a call. Check them out. CreateACommotion.com. Pickup Outfitters, owned by proud Baylor alum Jay Arrett and his wife, Carol.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Qualified buyer, see dealer for details. The anniversary sales event is happening now at Richard Carr. 22 years in Central Texas is worth celebrating with big savings on all cars and trucks. Savings like $3,500 off a 2021 Buick Envision or Buick Encore GX. Save $6,000 off a 2021 Buick Enclave. Save $6,500 off a 2021 GMC Train or GMC Acadia. Come by for prize giveaways and deep anniversary discounts on every car or truck on the lot. It's the anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. March marks 22 years for Richard Carr Motors. Celebrate with big savings going on now during the anniversary sale event.
All right, we're back. I did receive a text from Waco. It's a Methodist Children's Home. Athletic Director, football coach Matt Rogers. You've heard, and Craig, you've brought this up with a lot of the interviews with former players. It's been great. About the shirt, or about getting letters from the coaching staff or Scott Drew, and even a piece of the net. Matt Rogers, remember his son Rhett? We did an interview with he and his wife about 5 years ago. Rhett passed away. Matt Rogers told me that when Rhett passed away in 2015, the coaching staff of Baylor basketball were at the funeral.
Wow.
Scott Drew was at the visitation. And he received, about a month or so ago, Matt did, a shirt in the mail from Coach Drew. And then he got a letter from Coach Drew with a piece of the net.
Wow. That's, that's incredible. And it's not surprising, though. That's the thing, is like, everybody says it when they first meet Scott Drew. They're like, there's just no way this guy's like this. There's no way. I thought that. Everybody's thought that's met him initially. And then even his players say that constantly when they first met him when we're being recruited. They're like, this can't be true. But he just proves time and time again that it is. And that's just how he is. He's very unique and special in that way, unlike most people you'll come across. And I just think that's about as cool as it gets, but also not surprising in the slightest that he would do that. And we brought it up on this, or I think I've mentioned it. I know I've mentioned it before, but the day that we got fired a year ago, the same day, I got a call from Scott Drew. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure somebody just sent him my number or whatever, but I wasn't expecting that. And like, he didn't, and I still don't think he had to do that. But like the fact that he did, and it's not like I'm out there covering basketball constantly. I mostly cover football. That's what I like to cover, is football. And yet here's the basketball coach giving me a call on the day I got fired. And it's incredible. And I'll never forget that. And I will not tolerate Scott Drew's slander.
Yeah.
I will not.
Yeah, no, I won't either. He was the first person who called me when the news got out. The first.
He probably was for me, too.
He was the first.
He probably was.
He and Mac Rhodes, they were, Mac Rhodes called me a little later in the evening. Kim Mulkey called me the next day. Tons of people. I got text from a lot of people, calls. But Scott Drew was, I was at home for maybe an hour, and I talked to you once, Smokey. Just on, you called and say, hey, how you doing? like I talked to you, but like the first person who called me that was not outside of our bubble was Scott Drew. And he gave me like, not only this, he gave me, and had it not been COVID, I would have been able to do this. He goes, you know what you need to do? What have you been waiting? Like, you guys work all the time. What, like he mentioned, Craig's like, what do you guys want to do for like 2 weeks so you don't have to worry about it? He goes, go do it. Go do it. Stop worrying about it. He's like, he goes, and he said, like, coaches get fired all the time. He's like, you know, treat it like that. There's always going to be something else for you. And I felt immediately better. Immediately better.
Yeah. Well, how can you? In fact, when I called you to check on you, I was still working.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh, my God.
A lot of things changed in that hour.
So that's an incredible story from Matt Rogers. Craig?
I said for the better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no question about it. I would put that up on Twitter, but I have how much time? 3 hours and 18 minutes left in Twitter prison.
This is good for you. Just enjoy. Like, look, Scott Drew said last year when I got fired, enjoy the time not having to worry about punching a clock.
I can monitor it. Here's my question. Should UT football's Twitter account, all gas, no brakes, are they condoning reckless driving?
They condone a lot worse things than that, but sure, yeah. I mean, let's get them shut down.
No, that's just a rip-off thing that countless other teams have used before and are using currently. So, yeah, I mean, I explained my thoughts on that earlier. I've seen a lot worse, but you're not, I guess, of the group that's allowed to have free speech versus those who are apparently not allowed to. But you're not really missing much on Twitter, quite frankly, although I just did see a story. And you talk about having a bad day. How about the person who somehow managed to ruin 15 million vaccine doses here in the U.S.?
Yeah, they mixed up the ingredients somehow.
In Baltimore. Mm-hmm. They messed up the Johnson & Johnson vaccine at a human error at a Baltimore factory, ruined 15 million doses of the vaccine. Yeah, so that's what I get for being on Twitter, is that news. But so yeah, enjoy while you're not on there, getting the bad news delivered to you.
I just found out the connection from Matt Rogers. I know we have Joey McGuire. He was a student manager during Scott Drew's first 4 years. He was a graduate assistant and coach at Baylor, which I did not know that in 2010, 11, and 12. And if you guys have not been monitoring Andrew Baker, who somehow found out about my Twitter prison, you have to go monitor our good friend, who I think is out of jail. He's out of the wherever he's been stuck.
Yeah,
it's just cracking me the hell up.
Yeah, he wants me to explain the Green Lantern to you, which I don't know if I could ever do.
It's a cartoon character.
Yes, but like exactly. the deeper mythology of it.
Oh, okay. We can do that another time.
Yeah, I don't think you want it. I don't know. We'll see.
So, Craig, you've been at these practices. You were at Pro Day. We had the Pro Day segment with William Bradley King among all the players. How many? 18 NFL scouts, whatever. You've been out at the football deal. A couple of notes on that, and then you want to pitch the Joey McGuire segment.
I mean, yeah, I can. Pro Day was what it was. It was not fireworks and a bunch of people and a lot of buzz. It was more scouts than I expected to be in attendance. I certainly didn't think that 18 NFL teams would be here represented, just because it's a small group. And, there's maybe a couple of guys that, you think are probably going to be even on that undrafted level. Although, who knows, like maybe a Drew Galitz who came back, somebody's looking for a punter. But, yeah, it was cool to see, Spencer Drango, Drew Galitz, some of the former players who were out there working out, and then also see the current players. That's always a fun time when they get the opportunity to come check out the festivities and get a taste for what it's going to be like for them. And Terrell Bernard was one of those guys, so it was cool to see him kind of checking out the action and knowing that next year, if he's able to have the fortune of staying healthy, then he could very well be the guy that brings a very large crowd to Waco next year, of more than just 18 scouts. I expect that of him if he stays healthy, and the rest of that class as well. But, yesterday they had their practice. We haven't had an open window this week, so I don't have a whole lot to pass along as far as like news and notes or observations, because that's not until tomorrow, so I will be missing some of the show tomorrow. But we did get to talk to outside linebackers, Coach Joey McGuire. He touched on, some individual players. He touched on the jack position, which is, where he is. A couple of moves of linebackers moving from one spot to another. A couple of guys that are now in his camp at the outside linebacker jack spot. He also touched on Dave Aranda, the new coaching staff, and keep your ears glued to the end because he also has a little message for Houston as well.
Coach, how are your linebackers looking?
Good. We, we've got a good group. We've got a young group, and then we moved Bryson over from will linebacker to jack linebacker, so that gives me another senior, and a lot of fun. Very athletic, very eager. We're getting better every day. We've got a lot on. For day 5, there's a lot of defense on, and they're picking it up. That's really exciting.
Joey, second year in, do you kind of have maybe a better grasp too of exactly what you want out of those guys and what Coach Aranda and Coach Roberts want?
No doubt. You think about it, like we didn't get this time last year, and I said it before. The first time I ever coached with Coach Roberts was in the fall, and so we're learning the defense and we're putting all the little nuances together, and now going through a full season and going through the winter condition and everything, understanding exactly what they want, and we're trying to give it to them. We're getting better at it.
What kind of gains physically have you seen amongst your guys from the offseason?
That's fun. Like last year, Vic played at somewhere between 215 and 217. He's 227 right now. Tony, he's right around 246. Bryson was probably about 205. He's around 212. Ashton, he's been a little sick, but he's usually about 245, so big gains with our guys. I think another one like Will Garner, who's come over with me, he's like at 220 right now. I think when you see pictures of them, I always look at the stuff of like the views from the practice, and you can see, how jacked those guys are getting.
When you look at the linebackers as a whole, outside, inside, off y'all's whole linebacker core, it looks like, you've got some depth there. Do you guys feel that it's a pretty talented and deeper group, maybe?
I think it's one of the best groups in the Big 12 and in the country. Especially whenever you get the leader of that defense with Terrell Bernard back, Dylan Doyle. Matt Jones has gone inside to add depth. We know we can play jack linebacker, so that's able to add depth. You're talking about having a great spring. Matt Jones is having a great spring. Abe being able to play whenever Terrell was out, and then you add my guys. I feel comfortable with 3 or 4 of them. If we had to play tomorrow, there'd be a really good rotation. They've got a good idea of what's going on.
Coach, go ahead. Do you feel like the energy and excitement from spring ball starting is still up there, or is there a bit of a dip in week 2?
No, today was our really kind of true first back-to-back padded day, so I know they're a little tired, but I think, at the end when we were competing, when you put the ball down here at Baylor, then our guys are going to compete, and I thought you saw that back and forth. There was a couple of interceptions, a couple of trick plays for touchdowns, so it's kind of right now going back and forth of who's winning that period and winning the day.
Joey, you mentioned Victor and Tony, 2 of the names at your spot.
Right.
Tell me what you see in them and kind of maybe how they've developed. What are you seeing from those guys?
Tony is very, very physical, very strong, heavy-handed. This is one of the guys you hear a lot of people like whenever he puts his hands on you, I don't care if you're a 320-pound tackle, he's going to be able to stop you or really control you. He's got really heavy hands. Vic is more of that speed rush guy that's going to help us get to the quarterback. But he also, because he is so long and he's got long arms, he's been able to hold up in there in the run game. But, as a group, I couldn't be more pleased with what's going on.
So you said Bryson Jackson and Will Garner are now
they're both jack linebackers.
With you.
Yeah, I have Tony, Vic, Ashton Logan, Bryson Jackson, Will Garner, and then Strauss. He came out through a walk-on program, and so he's been over there. And when we're in our true outside linebacker stuff, he's really picking that up quick because that's what he played in high school.
So is the star more safety then? Or?
Star's more the safety.
Okay.
Now we're working some stuff where there's 2 of my guys on the field. Right. So, but we'll see. I mean, it's hard. Jalen Petrie's another one. I said Terrell Bernard. Those two guys right there, they're as good as anybody in the country. And so you don't want them standing next to Coach Roberts or me whenever the defense is on the field.
Jalen was in here, and, man, you could tell his arm. You talk about guys gaining. He looked like he was just –
no doubt.
That's what I want to be like.
No, me too. Me too. I tell him all the time if I look like he might coach my shirt off. So.
Coach, how's the speed they've been playing with? Does it seem like things are connecting quickly and they can play fast?
They are. They're playing. There's some things. Again, like I said, we have a lot on, which is good. It's putting us in situations where we've got to think quick. We always talk about winning pre-snap, and so that's our alignment, our assignment. Get our eyes on our key, and then when that ball is snapped, it's stimulus and response. And so they're playing pretty fast. There's some things that we've got to get better at, having more eye discipline as the play goes on, but we'll get there.
What kind of juice, no pun intended because there is a coach juice, but what kind of juice have the new coaches brought to the table?
Well, I've known Coach Grimes for, since 2003 maybe, and so, he's a good old Texas boy, and actually two of my coordinators played for him at Hardin-Simmons, so I've known him really well. He's always come through. Coach Stuckey, great positive guy. Mateo, I think you're going to see as it grows how our offensive line grows, and man, just a positive guy. He's not a new guy, but you want to talk about somebody really happy and bouncing around is Sean Bell. My son said the other day at practice he's never seen Sean so happy being able to coach the quarterback, so it's a lot of fun.
Your son Garrett has saw an article on the Panthers website, and I mean, I know you've kind of spoken about it, but just how cool is his journey and being able to watch that?
Well, it's a lot of fun to watch and proud. Both my kids, they're kind of rock stars. They take all that from their mom, but they're both, my daughter's in New York. She's a fashion designer, and then my son. They're both on the East Coast, and man, I'm true blue Texan, so it's hard to see them, there, but really proud, and it says a lot about the relationship that he had with the previous coaching staff and Coach Rule and just how much they cared about each other. And then it was just awesome to see how Coach Aranda put his arm around him and really, welcomed him in as a coach's kid.
What kind of things have you maybe witnessed with Aranda kind of moving into the second year, learning from last year? He obviously was quick to make some changes that he felt he needed to make, but have you seen some growth from him just as far as comfortability and heading into a second year?
I think you're always, I remember, like I said, I've been there, so I know, you're getting your feet wet and you've got to, understand your surroundings and everything that's going on, and man, just his presence, his message to the team every day, just class, that integrity, being a better person makes better players. I think y'all heard Coach Drew say that last night about his team, and so there's definitely a different presence and also just I think him being comfortable in being that second year head coach and then going through spring.
Joey, have y'all been able to add stuff this spring? It seemed like maybe it was simple in the fall and it was effective. So have y'all been able to add things on the defensive side just in terms of schemes, whatever?
We have. There's probably there's a couple things that we could put in on third down right now, but we have a lot. I mean, almost the entire base package is in, and then we've got some good blitzes in, a couple of change-ups from last year of what we're doing. So, I know competitors probably watch this too, so I don't want to say too much, but we got a lot in, and we could go out and play and have a really good football game on the defensive side of the ball, I think where we're at right now.
Is it a little different going against a different offense too?
It is, but it's really good.
Yeah.
Coach, that offense, Coach Grimes puts a lot of stress on the defense. He puts a lot of stress on our position. And so there's a lot of things. It is awesome for us as a jackbacker, I think, as a star, because there's a lot of movement in that offense. So you got to go, I'm a 5, now I'm a 7, now I'm a 9. There's a lot of different changing parts. And so I think it stresses us, but it stresses us in a good way to get ready for some of the opponents in our conference that do that.
You enjoying basketball season?
I'm glad you said that, because I was going to end whenever y'all were done, but One, I learned something from Kim Mulkey every single day I hear her talk. It crushed me last night. Me and Coach DJ and Q, we were all in my office, Coach Pallage, and, man, we were going nuts at the end of the game, just cheering. And man, I hated it, heartbroken for those girls and for her, but also so proud of those girls and just what they've done for the university. And it's hard to win, and she just comes back and does it every single year. So hats off to her. And, man, if you can't learn her as a coach, if you can't learn how to coach and how to coach your kids and love on them, then there's something wrong. And then you turn around and, really Mulkey, Drew, and Tang are three of the reasons that I'm here. They talked to me through the transition, and, man, Tang and Drew are just awesome. I mean, just incredible. And to see how the guys played, I watched every second of it last night, and Tang and I kind of have this thing going back and forth. He started it in 19 when we were playing so well on defense, and he would always say defense travels. And no matter what you're doing on offense, the way they're defending the ball, then we're going to have a shot, and we'll see. There's a little tweet and a little fun jabs and everything of what's going on this weekend. I think we're going to show up and be ready. Well, you always got to be careful what you ask for.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
All right, Smokey. Well, there was Joe McGuire. Before we get into it, do you want to get into Joe McGuire at all?
Yeah, I love what I heard. I heard a lot of questions, Craig, of course, and others a lot of questions. The way he's then moved a couple of guys around, and then you look at what he said at the end. That Coach Drew and Jerome Tang were ones that were always kind of in touch with him during the transition from Rule to Aranda, when Joey had to kind of figure out what he wanted to do as well. There's another example of what those guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's get into the top 5. These are top 5 players from this March Madness that I will always remember, and this is the eliminated teams edition. So the teams that are still in, like Johnny Juzang, who I'll never forget, but he doesn't qualify because he's still playing. He might win the title, so that's we have to leave that out. But and this is, of course, brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club, coming soon to Waco. Bring the laughter back to Waco. Go to their Facebook page to find out more information. See some cool videos from Kevin and Mike about the construction of the club. All right, number 5, Joe Pleasant from ACU. I mean, this is just because they beat Texas, but he was the guy who got fouled and 66% free throw shooter or something like that. And I thought, oh man, here's a guy, he's got to make them both to win. And sure enough, he did it. I'll never forget Joe Pleasant now.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I mean, I remember it somewhat. The name doesn't strike me in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's kind of a nice reminder there.
Yeah, he was the guy. Number 4, Michigan's Mike Smith. Hair alone, I would remember him because of this do, which I think is most of the time you see hair like this and you think, like, why is that guy doing that? But for some reason on Mike Smith, it works. Plus, he's an excellent player. He's an excellent player. I thought he was going to make that shot last night and Michigan was going to win and UCLA was going to be disappointed. But I really enjoyed watching Mike Smith in the tournament as well.
Okay, I just now saw the picture of Joe Pleasant. I'm probably on delay when it comes to the video feed because I don't see it on my feed with you guys. Okay, there you go. Yep. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then
I like that his hair is intentionally matching his uniform.
Yeah,
I think that's upper level, looks, I guess.
Yeah, that's game on top of game right there.
Yes.
All right, number 3, Evan Mobley, who I believe we're probably going to be hearing about in the NBA for a little while here. What a player for USC, and of course, they ran up against the gigantic buzzsaw that was Gonzaga, and we're not talking about Evan Mobley right now, but especially the way that they played the first couple of games, man. He is the name. He's maybe the best player out of all these guys that will come out of this list here. This number 5.
This list.
This list. This list. He's the
you
best.
Guys still playing?
He's the best player. Yeah. He's the best player on this list right here. Number 2, Max Asmus. I'll remember him, of course. Unbelievable scorer, and also the fact that he, much like Brett Favre before him, has convinced everybody to say his name a different way than it's spelled, and I respect that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what is it? It's A-B-M-A-S, is that right, Craig? Yeah.
Asmus. And number 1, And this is the Big Country Reeves category award. Cameron Krutwig from Loyola very much reminds me of Big Country Reeves and the fact that, Big Country Reeves played Oklahoma State. He was very much an Oklahoma State guy. His name was Big Country because he was a big country dude, and that was his personality. And then Cameron Krutwig is so Chicago. He is deep Chicago. The guy drinks old style beer. I'm sure that he cried the day that Mike, he cries when he hears the name Mike Ditka, even though he wasn't alive when he was the coach. All of these things. He is so Chicago. He eats sausage for at least one meal a day. That's how Chicago this guy is. And plus he's just a heck of a player. But he is in that category of Big Country Reeves where I'm just not, I will always think about them when I think about March Madness.
He wasn't very good in that the game they got knocked out. I'm looking for the box score. I can't find it. Who knocked him out?
Oregon State?
Loyola?
Yeah, right?
I don't even remember. I'm trying to fever.
Yeah, well, he actually had a 14.10 rebound game. He didn't play well, I think, early on. Okay. All right. Yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah, but he was fantastic in that opening upset win. No doubt about it. All right. Paul, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you to Slapsticks.
All right. I got my favorite college football program, of course, is a school up in Lincoln. And did you know that today during the national or the name, image, likeness, oral arguments or hearing in front of the Supreme Court, that Clarence Thomas gave me hope. He said all this about paying athletes and whatever else. He noted, this from Dan Wetzel, that sounds fine for the upper level schools, whether it's Alabama, Ohio State, and Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska probably needs to have a little examination on whether they belong in that group at this point, which I think is what you're getting at. But, yeah, I think somebody said, well, that just goes to show you how much he's been paying attention to college football lately, that he still thinks Nebraska's a blue blood, and there are all sorts of jokes like that. So
that's great.
By the way, I just want to make a comment real quick. I was just on ESPN.com, and they have their headline, and I know they're just trying to get clip, but it says, former Arkansas SMU coach Morris takes over Texas high school program, as if it doesn't give weight to the job he's taking. This is not like Art Briles taking Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
There are college jobs that he could have, many college jobs he'd have that are way worse than the job he's taking.
Oh, they're too busy, with other important things like how to, get upset over Mulkey's comments or something. But yeah, that would be kind of nice. And you would think they'd have somebody on the beat that would kind of help explain this is the premier program in the entire state of Texas. Therefore, probably, definitely top 5, definitely top 10, not number 1, because you have, schools that are rigged like IMG that recruits their players. And I know people would argue that Allen does too, but Allen also has automatically 40,000 kids playing football right from the jump. So, as far as a real high school and not an academy, they're right there at the top of the list. And that's interesting though. It's a hell of a hire for Allen. Shows you just how big they are. They go hire a college football coach, and I'm not sure what his plans were, but that'll be interesting to follow.
All right, good stuff, everybody. Tomorrow we'll have another list of guests, including the ones we had today. Thanks to John Jacobs, Baylor men's basketball, Evan Miyakawa from EvanMiya.com on the analytics of the Final Four. Thanks to William Bradley King, Baylor. Freddie Gillespie, Mac Rhodes, Devontae Bandu, Dick Vitale, Gino Ariyama, and Joey McGuire. Appreciate them for being a part of the show. A lot of them have already sent text messages. Paul Craig, great stuff. Armstrong Sims, the mad scientist and semi-genius, running the mothership back in the studio. And thanks to our great sponsors, those who bring you coverage from Indianapolis or every day on SicEm365 Radio. I'm David Smoak. Good night.
university, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add